The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
According to a Jets insider, one name has moved to the front of the Jets DC search. Plus, speaking of coaches, Sean McDermott out. The Bills firing their head coach after 9 years, and Aaron Glenn remains. We'll break down the latest. Frankie V joins us. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
I let the organization down, and I let the players down, and that burns me. It really does. This season's on me, and we're going to work our ass off to get this shit exactly where it needs to be.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click that button right over there. We're presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. A lot to talk about with the Jets. A reminder, if you want to march for Arch, you can go to jakeasman.com/shop. If you buy a shirt during any live show, we give you 5 raffle tickets for the daily raffle, which, I'll just spoil it, will be a signed Wayne Corbett helmet up for grabs on this show and our second show this afternoon. With that, we say hello to our guy who joins us every Monday in the offseason at this time, Frankie V from uStadium. Frankie, what a weekend of playoff football. And let's get to the breaking news right at the start of our show here. Sean McDermott, the Bills head coach for the last 9 years, is out. The Bills, of course, losing in devastating fashion to the Denver Broncos on Saturday in the divisional round. And the Bills make a move. So McDermott is out. That is now 10 coaching openings total during this hiring cycle. What was your initial reaction to that?
You know what? I wasn't surprised, Jake, and thanks for having me on. Listen, Sean McDermott, how many years are you going to get there? They've been knocking on the door a few, too many, years too many. If you can't get to the Super Bowl, you're out. I mean, I don't really blame them for doing that. Some fans wanted it done a year ago. So Buffalo, this is a league where you have to win, and Josh Allen's not going to be in his prime forever. So I get the move to a degree. I think they may be wanting to go in an offensive direction too with their next hire. So it should be interesting to see.
Well, what's interesting to me is I thought that there was a chance this would happen for sure if they lost to Jacksonville. And then, of course, you could say, okay, well, he probably saved his job. You're going into Denver. They're the 1 seed. And the way they lost, where it was more about just Josh Allen playing poorly when the game mattered, right? Having 4 turnovers. They had 5 for the game. I thought that would have allowed McDermott to possibly get one more shot at it, but they make the move. And now you look at the state of the AFC East. I thought this tweet from Field Yates just encapsulates it perfectly. Mike Vrabel was hired 372 days ago and is now technically the longest tenured coach.
That's wild.
In the AFC East. It's crazy. You have New England, of course, with the easiest path maybe ever to getting to a Super Bowl, right? A banged up Chargers team with a playoff choker in Herbert. CJ Stroud, speaking of playoff chokers, went full Justin Fields and Zach Wilson love child in the playoffs this year. Disgusting how the Texans aren't going to be playing this upcoming Sunday because that defense is special. And then, you look at the rest of the division. Miami's going to have a new coach and a new GM. They already hired their GM. You look at the situation, of course, now with Buffalo. They're going to have a new head coach. Brandon Beane is going to be sticking around, leading the search as their GM, which I think a lot of Bills fans are questioning that one. And then we have Aaron Glenn. So all is good, baby. All these coaches available. And when you have a chance to stick with the worst head coach in the NFL, you just got to do it. And that is what the Jets are doing, seemingly, by keeping Aaron Glenn.
Well, Jake, I'm just really glad you didn't let go of the rope yet. So just want to throw that out there. But listen, man, you know what? There's a silver lining here. It might be in our best interest maybe to wait another year to find a head coach. because it's going to be pretty competitive. Obviously, you have 9 openings right now, 10 total. So I think maybe it's, we're better off going into next year with Glenn on this sort of mandate, I think, of 7 games or so. So it's not the worst thing in the world, honestly.
Well, the problem is that they start 1-5 and then he fires Aaron Glenn. It's like, what's the point, right? Like that's kind of my big thing. So yeah, I mean, if you want to be glass half full, if Aaron Glenn doesn't turn it around with 10 openings here, including Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and the Giants, right? Some marquee franchises with legitimate quarterbacks in place. I mean, the last 2 league MVPs, their coaches have been fired during this hiring cycle. For some perspective, the Jets, in theory, with their 3 first-round picks in 2027, and if Glenn fails, they'll have another top pick plus the additional picks. It's an attractive job, I would say, right? It's New York. You got some pieces here with the O-line and Garrett Wilson. We'll see what they could do this offseason with the 4 picks in the top 44 to add to their roster. And, maybe it would be an attractive job for whoever it might be, Mike Tomlin, Kevin O'Connell, whoever the top coaches are in the hiring cycle a year from now. But it just sucks that we're all just kind of waiting for 2027 to start to have real optimism again, when you could argue right now, go get a legit coach. Go try and get Joe Brady, who's available now. Go try and take a chance on an offensive guy, right? Mike McCarthy's on a lock to get any of these jobs. He'd be a stabilizing figure for this franchise. So I like your silver lining because there is hope. That's all we really have as Jet fans. We try and find anything, but 10 coaches available during this cycle, and the Jets are keeping a guy who was so clearly the worst coach in football this past year. It's scary.
Yeah, I mean, they showed something about how the Patriots had more turnovers in 3 quarters of football yesterday than the Jets had all year. So, I mean, just put that in perspective. But with that being said, on top of that silver lining, Jake, when you give yourself a year, right, what happens is there might be some candidates out there and some quarterbacks out there that are sort of aligning in a way. Don't be surprised if the Jets' next head coach doesn't, isn't tagged along with a quarterback. That's what's really holding this team back at the end of the day. It's the quarterback position. We can talk about everything. We saw with Robert Saleh too. You could have, defenses ranked in the top 5. If your, quarterback isn't able to, run an offense, forget about throwing the ball, even just running an offense. They don't even know how to audible these guys. How many times did we see this past year Fields audibling to what probably was the wrong play because it would go for negative yards more often than not? We need somebody that really understands the way that, an offense is supposed to run at like a premier level. Even if they don't have the best traits, I want the smartest quarterback we can find and get him in that room. The position's been played at such a low level here for so long. It helps everybody. Pass protection, too, is a big variable in this. Are you able to call out protections with your center so you're not getting killed? How many free blitzers have we seen just taking shots at our quarterbacks for years? You got to get somebody that knows what the hell they're doing, man. And honestly, Dante Moore, I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here, but like Dante Moore going back to college was probably the best thing to happen to us, because I think it would have blinded us for another year or two. Glenn would have used it as a little prop to say, oh, look at this guy. I'm going to put him in week 10. Give me some time, Woody. Now this is going to have to be he's going to have to do a hell of a job, honestly. And he should have to do a hell of a job. This is a very tough job for Aaron Glenn this next year. Let's see what you can do, man. You don't have all the pieces. Find them. You have enough picks.
Yeah. Look, you can't use year 0 as an excuse anymore. Oh, I'm a rookie. Not when you peacock the way you did when you got the job. No coach is under more pressure going into year 2, I believe, than Aaron Glenn. And just for some perspective on the coaching cycle here, 10 head coach openings, tied for the most in a single offseason all time. So I will choose to be positive like you were this morning. Next year, more than half the head coaches in the league will be either in year 1 or their second year with their respective teams. So in theory, there should not be this many openings a year from now. Typically, you get at least 5 to 7 is roughly the average. Sometimes a little more, usually not a little less. And if the Jets happen to be one of them, as long as the Jets aren't just ridiculously dumb, and that's a huge if, I understand that. But, and what I mean by that is not like blow away all their first round picks in 2027 for like a win now move that doesn't make you that much better, right? Like, as long as the Jets are calculated with trying to use the resources they have this offseason to try and improve their team and maintain the 3-1s and the flexibility they still would have from a cap standpoint in 2027, I believe the job for the Jets would be attractive, because I'm assuming if Glenn's getting fired, they're going to win 5 games or less, be picking around the top 5 in a perceived to be better QB draft, and have an opportunity to get their guy and pair that guy up with a big-time coach. At least that is the hope for a Jet fan out there that is not sold on Aaron Glenn. And I know that feels like with every passing day, it's an increasing amount of fans who side with us on this head coach should have been one and done.
Yeah, and listen, man, we have picks 2, 16, 33, and 44. That's really good draft capital right there. You could arguably call those 3 first-round picks with 33, right? So, and people are saying this draft sucks. I've been hearing that. This draft stinks. That's not true at all. It's not. It sucks that we're drafting second, and the player we take at 2, you could probably justify them going 8, 9, or 10. But that's fine because you have your pick at whomever you want at that point. So this is not a bad draft. The more I dive into it, we'll talk more about it, I'm sure, as the offseason, is underway. But this draft has got some talent, man. So you got to come in here and make the right picks. I mean, that's it. And then next year we have even more picks. So there's no reason. There's no reason the Jets can't turn it around in the next 2 years. And there's no excuses either. Right now is the time. You cannot be going 15 plus years and 16, 17, whatever, without making the playoffs. Teams don't go longer than 20. So it's never really happened before. I think it's happened once in NFL history. So you really have to get this thing right. Enough is enough. And now you have the draft capital, Jake. There's really no excuses at this point.
It's now or never, man. I mean, again, like all these teams could turn it around and figure things out. Oh, but Jake, Glenn didn't have a quarterback. He picked Fields. They chose not to draft anyone. They didn't draft Dart. They didn't draft Tyler Shuck. Again, these jobs are hard, so they have to be good at them. They have to understand, what it takes to win. If they can't evaluate talent, if they can't evaluate quarterbacks, it's never going to work. So ultimately, this is the opportunity for Aaron Glenn to prove doubters like me and yourself wrong, that he does have a feel, that he has learned from his mistakes. He's asking Jet fans to trust him. That's tough to ask any Jet fan to trust a head coach who was this inept in his first year. But Aaron Glenn's asking for that trust. Well, you got to earn that. And let's see what they do now this offseason. So I think that's a good pivot here as we're talking with Frankie V from uStadium. Let's talk about the coaching staff situation, the DC search in particular. There is an update from The Athletic I want to get into, but I'll bring this up real quick. McDermott is available, defensive guy. I don't know if he'd have any interest in the job, but if you're Aaron Glenn, are you at least making a call to gauge his interest in interviewing for the DC job?
100%. You have to. Also, you know why you want to make that call, even if you don't like him as like a schemer? He knows everything you can know about Josh Allen and this division. So, I mean, if you want to get a leg up on Josh Allen and the division, bring in a guy that's been studying tape on all those teams and devising game plans for 9 years in our division. So that's the most attractive thing about Sean McDermott, honestly. You're going to get all the tendencies and updates on Josh Allen as you can, man. So I would definitely give him a call. I actually think he makes a lot of sense here. I really do. Former head coach, might not have a job lined up for him right now. If you could pay him enough money, why not? I actually think it makes too much sense in a weird way. So, right? I mean, he knows Josh Allen, Jake.
He does.
You're playing him twice a year, so.
I don't think he'd take the job, but you call. Now, the real name I'd be interested in is Joe Brady, who did interview for the head coaching job with the Jets last year. If he's available, and he might be a candidate to get the job to replace Sean McDermott for all we know. Also, Brian Dable's name is apparently being mentioned there, which would be fascinating for him to go to Buffalo and reunite with Josh Allen. But, yeah, like Joe Brady would be a great addition to the Jet staff. I know you love Engstrand, but if you can get Brady, I'd fire Engstrand in 2 seconds if I can get Joe Brady for what it's worth.
I wouldn't go that far. No, I'm with you. I mean, you know what? Joe Brady's an interesting candidate because I don't really know the kind of offenses he really likes to run, to be honest. I don't know if he's not really a down the field kind of guy throwing the football. He is a little bit underneath, but he likes to run things through his quarterback, likes to do some RPO things. But I'm curious if Joe Brady didn't have Josh Allen, how he'd be, to be honest. We got to throw that out there. It helps when you have Josh Allen. He was good at LSU when he was there, but he wasn't there for long. He was in New Orleans before that. Yeah, but I don't know. I do like Tanner Engstrand a lot. You know that. I think the passing concepts are all there. I think the running schemes need to change up a bit with Tanner. But yeah, if you got a guy with that much experience like Joe Brady, who's been rumored to, be head coaching favorites in places, you bring that guy in, you make him the OC instantly.
I think that's well said. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line for those two to get late. Wayne Corbett autographed helmet is today's giveaway. Make sure you enter the Asmaniac raffle for your chance to win. Raffle day for the weekly series is tomorrow. Signed Garrett Wilson helmet, signed Darrelle Revis helmet, signed Chad Pennington helmet are the top prizes. Huge shout out to Aurora, who became a channel member. She entered herself in today's raffle. Aurora, this is for you. Mr. Flowers with a super chat. Maybe those Joe Brady rumors were true and the Bills didn't want to lose him. I don't believe it's that, Mr. Flowers. But again, if Joe Brady's available and the Jets wanted to hire him, I fully endorse that hire. I want someone preferably with experience, but I don't want to just throw away next year. If they think Joe Brady could be a good coach, he's offensive minded, I'd feel a lot better about him with a quarterback and hiring a good staff and getting the Jets in the right direction going forward than I would running it back with Glenn for another year and just hoping that they're in range to get a quarterback in 27 and hoping it's an attractive job at that point. I don't like throwing away years. I think that's dumb. So I would take Joe Brady now. I just think that Woody Johnson is dead set on bringing Aaron Glenn back for another season.
Yeah, I think he is too, man. And the other thing is, we have some young players, especially on offense on this team. You want to give them some good insight and coach them up correctly on offense when they're young, when they're mendable. It's like you cannot be one step behind offensively every year because you don't have a quarterback, and then your head coach doesn't do anything for your offense, obviously. So it sucks that we have these young stud tackles and we have a young tight end in Mason Taylor. Guys like Braylon Allen will be back next year. You might have a young quarterback in there. I'm sure they will. Young receivers you got in that room. A 4th-round pick that can't get on the field in Arian Smith. And they're not going to get anything extra because the coach isn't going to give them anything. And that sucks because you're also wasting a year of development with these guys. And this is important for them. These are young. It's your second, third year, first year for whoever we're going to draft. And you're getting nothing. And you just have to wait to get coached up. We saw it in Jacksonville as a perfect example. How many guys on that offense aren't able to do anything? Liam Cohen comes in, boom. It's like the greatest show on turf, reincarnated. That's what this league is, man.
It's coaching.
Coaching. It's coaching.
What do you mean?
Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
It's like the football guys just want to torture Jet fans, man. Like we're keeping Glenn, and there's 10 openings, which is tied for the most ever. It really is.
You know what's funny, Jake? Do you ever have people that really aren't that in tune with the NFL, but they'll ask you that they'll be like, why are the Jets keeping that guy, Aaron Glenn? I've gotten asked that 50 times. I'm like, don't get me started, please.
Yeah, it's
ask
amazing,
me another
man.
Question.
Yeah, I mean, I get asked by people who aren't Jet fans or just reporters around the league, and it's wild, man. We're going to get to your calls in the show, so load them up. Obviously, we started with the news of the Bills firing Sean McDermott, which means new coach in Miami, new coach in Buffalo. New England has a coach in year 1 going into year 2 who has his team in the AFC Championship game, of course, his first year. And we have a coach who went 3-14 and looked inept for most of the year, and he's coming back apparently. Let's get to the latest on the Jets defensive coordinator search. Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic has a story out, and he wrote in the story that, quote, Wink Martindale is the early front runner for the DC job. I will read you an excerpt from the story, and then Frankie, you could share your thoughts on Wink as a candidate. Quote, it did get out. Veteran DC Wink Martindale, formerly of the University of Michigan, the Giants, and the Ravens, was a leading contender for the job. And also that Glenn requested permission to interview Vikings DB coach Durante Jones. According to multiple league sources, Glenn actually spoke with Martindale before the end of the season, and there's a feeling that he is the early frontrunner for the job. It's unclear if Glenn spoke to any other candidates before the season ended until or unless Martindale is actually offered the job. Nothing is certain, and Glenn wouldn't have interviewed 7 other candidates if Martindale was already offered the gig. Well, one correction, though. There are Rooney Rule requirements for coordinator jobs. So even if Glenn had a handshake agreement with Wink, a wink-wink kind of deal, he would still have to complete the Rooney Rule requirements. They still would have to have 2 in-person interviews with a minority candidate for any coordinator opening. So that's one just follow-up to Zach's reporting here. So that's part 1 of what I think is newsy from this story. Part 2 we'll get into in a moment, but give us your thoughts on Wink being perceived as the, quote, early front runner for the DC gig.
I mean, listen, it's similar to it's a similar situation to Steve Wilks with Wink. You want someone with experience, someone that's been around, has an established system. Glenn likes to blitz. That's a big part of what he wants to do here. And I don't think Wilks was doing that enough. So if you want someone that loves to bring the pressure, sort of a zero blitz kind of guy, that is Wink Martindale. So it makes sense that they'd want somebody like that because that's exactly what they were looking for in Steve Wilks. The issue with Martindale is he's got a really tough, rough kind of personality. So I don't know how him and Glenn are going to get along. That's a combustible pairing right there. So, Jake, if you want Glenn out of town, bring big boy Wink right in there, man. He'll blow that thing up real fast. No, he's a polarizing personality. Him and Dable, obviously, everyone knows the story about what happened with them two. They basically wanted to, fight each other on a daily basis. So, but I do think there's some intriguing parts. He did do a really good job in Baltimore. So, listen, he knows what he's doing. He is an aggressive kind of DC, but I don't think that's the direction this team should go in. I think you want, in my opinion, someone young, somebody that if you need to give the keys to for even a year next year, if this Glenn thing really blows up, maybe you have a candidate or someone that can make it a little more interesting. Wink is someone that it's like Steve Wilks. They're the high floor, low ceiling, kind of higher. That's kind of how I see it. But I want someone young and I want to think a little differently about the game. Imagine Wink and Glenn. We're talking about these rah-rah guys that don't care too much about, X's and O's. Wink's kind of falls in that a little bit. But
yeah. I think this would be an underwhelming hire. I mean, again, you look at Wink Martindale, he's a name, so people are familiar with him. But just look at the recent track record. It's not good. Like with Michigan, the defenses were really uninspiring. They were not good. 2023 with the Giants, his DVOA was 21st. 2022 with the Giants, the DVOA was 30. 2021 with the Ravens,
wow, I didn't even know
28. That. I mean, he hasn't been elite since 2020 when he had the 6th best DVOA defense with Baltimore. Before that, he had back-to-back years of being number 4 and number 4 in 2019 and 2018. But the league has changed a lot since then. It's a long time ago. This kind of feels like the white Steve Wilks.
Yeah. No, it does. It does. I'd
rather take a chance on a young up-and-coming guy. Like, if you're Glenn, like, swing for the fence with a guy that you think could be the next guy rather than a guy who, at best, is better than Wilks, but is not going to be a guy that's going to help guys overachieve.
I like the guy out of Cleveland, Ephraim Banda.
Brown safeties coach.
Yes.
Ephraim Banda. Yep.
Yeah. Ephraim Banda. I like that kind of hire a lot. So he went to Carnett Ward, which is actually the same school that Cam Ward went to early on. Not that that really matters, but they have some fresh things going on there, some new kind of things. Then he was at Texas, Mississippi State, Miami for a little bit, and then Utah State, where he really made a name for himself as their DC and safeties coach, and then with Cleveland for the last 2 years. And Cleveland's defense has been fantastic. And he's a young guy. He's 44. Just something different. Learned under Jim Schwartz, kind of like he's part of that coaching tree. I would rather take a shot on someone like this. You know, he doesn't clearly have the experience that Wink Martindale has, but you get somebody that might do things a little differently. Plus, he's a safeties coach, right? Our safeties suck. Sorry to say it. They're not good. So we're going to have to draft a safety. I'm sure they're going to draft one. You could build out that D-backs room. We need help back there. So I like a guy that has a specialty in safety play. He knows about, you know, what these D-backs need to do in general. We need help back there, man. So I'd rather if we're going to get a DC, get someone that has a specialty on the back half rather than the first, you know, the front half. So
comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. The other aspect from this story in The Athletic, and I don't think this is a surprise, or this just kind of confirms what many of us have felt. Zach Rosenblatt wrote that the Jets looked into DC candidates that, quote, weren't interested in the job. And again, this to me makes sense. I don't believe this is a great job, that you have a head coach who's on the hot seat. You have a defense that, while has some talent, it doesn't have premium talent like Sauce and Quinnen, guys who have been all pros. Quincy's gone. He's a free agent, hasn't been that level of player now in 2 seasons. I don't think he's nearly as bad as what he looked like this year, but that's a whole separate issue, right? I mean, who are the premium players on defense? I think you and I both liked Will McDonald, but he didn't have a good year. A lot of that, I'm sure, had to do with coaching. But Jermaine Johnson now, what is he? Coming off the Achilles. Like, that's a tough injury for any pass rusher, even with another year of recovery. So between the fact that coach is on the hot seat, there's not premium talent, I understand why DC candidates like Jonathan Gannon or Jim Schwartz or whoever, they're going to say no to interviewing for the job. I think the only reason why Jim Leonard took the interview is he knows Muji from Denver and he knows Glenn from Cleveland. And he was a former Jet. So he probably, as a courtesy, gave the Jets an interview. But Jim Leonard's a candidate to replace Vance Joseph in Denver if he gets a head coaching job. Jim Leonard's a candidate to be the DC of the Giants under Harbaugh, which is a way better job. So this doesn't surprise me. The exact quote in the Athletic story on this is, quote, other candidates the Jets looked into weren't interested in the job. That's what Glenn is up against as he attempts to rebuild his coaching staff, especially on the defensive side. This is not the most appealing opportunity. So that's why I'd much rather Glenn take a swing on the next up-and-coming great guy than someone who's just a has-been in Wink Martindale, for being real. Like Chris Banjo, no one knew who he was, and he was a great hire. Give Glenn credit for that bold of a move, listening to Mike Westhoff and hiring a guy who was a player 2 seasons prior. That, to me, would be the swing I would take over Wink Martindale.
Totally. You know what else is happening here with this position specifically? They are talking. I know this. They're talking about that second pick. Hey, you're the DC. You're coming in here. We might give you the second pick. You want David Bailey? He's yours. You want Reuben Bain? You got him. You want Arvell Reese? He's right there. So don't be surprised if this second pick isn't tied in some way to this defensive coordinator hire, because you can get a really good defensive player at 2. You can get one at 16 also, but you can get a really good one. You can pick anyone in college football right now because Mendoza's probably going 1. If this coordinator likes someone and he's like, you know what, I get to go there and I get that guy, that makes the job a little bit more interesting. You have your pick at the litter, you know? You can pick whomever you want out of college as a defensive coordinator. So I know the Jets want that to be attached to this job in some way, shape, or form. But I'm with you with the Wink stuff, man. It's like, do you really what advantage are you going to have going out there on Sunday with Aaron Glenn and Wink Martindale? You know, it's like we're running like a 1978 kind of team here. It's like, when are the Jets going to start? You got to be ahead of the game with this kind of stuff, by the way. Like, you got to do something that teams are going to be thinking about doing in 2 or 3 years. You're doing Wink Martindale stuff. It's like, this is why the Jets are the Jets.
Coaching. It's coaching. Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
The best part of that quote is Glenn is right. It is all coaching. That's the league. And he's the worst coach. Like, he's not wrong with what he's saying. He's just not the right guy to implement where the league is, you know?
Unbelievable. That was a low blow. I like it, though.
Again, when you have a chance to keep the worst head coach in professional football, when there's 10 teams that moved on from theirs, you got to do it. You just have to.
I feel bad for your co-host there yesterday, Jake. He had taking some heavy hitters on that call line.
Yeah, it wasn't even me yesterday with Tannenbaum. I gave Mike the day off from yelling about Glenn. I've accepted my reality. He's coming back. I'll spin it positive that the Jets will have an opportunity to maybe be one of the better openings a year from now. They'll have a top pick in the draft. If they hire Wink, he's the perfect guy to march for Arch. I mean, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Let's get to some super chats here. Also, Wayne Corbett signed helmet is the giveaway today for those just tuning in. Our guy Paul is referencing what I was just saying. What's up, Paul? Great job coming on the show on Friday. Everyone check out that episode if you didn't watch it live. He writes in, chess, not checkers. AG is the sacrificial lamb to get us high draft picks. So in 2027, the Jets' job is attractive to top candidates. Hire Wink, pick your bad veteran QB, and we roll. Isn't this sad that this is the mindset? We're this early in the process, and many fans, including a guy like Paul, who's very rational, very level-headed. He's not as emotional as I am and passionate and crazy, right? And this is like the best case scenario. Keep AG as the, quote, sacrificial lamb. Pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. It's this is as low as it can get for a fan base. I mean, and we're extremely hopeful in nature, Jet fans. It's part of almost being a Jets fan. You're just always hopeful. We've always been underdogs, and we hate the Giants, and it's fun being a Jets fan, but it's not really anymore. It was fun. Until they start winning, I think we've all kind of had enough at this point. The Rodgers thing, people don't talk about this enough, Jake. The Rodgers thing really set us back. They sort of put all their eggs in that basket. The injury really screwed us that first year. I don't think if Rodgers gets hurt that first year, I think the story might have, been a little different there. I'm not saying we win a Super Bowl necessarily, but you're at least making the playoffs and doing some exciting things, I think. When he got hurt and the second year kind of blew up in our face, it sort of really, really dampened the mood here in Jet Nation. So, and now it's gotten even worse. I mean, you thought last year was as bad as it can get. I was listening to some shows Ryan and I had last year where I'm bringing up rock bottom in week 7 or whatever. No, this is actually rock bottom. I think we're officially there right now. It can really only go up, though, at this point, right? I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, even if they start next year 1-5, are we going to be surprised at all? I mean, no. But things will get better. They have to, don't they? Don't the law of averages suggest that eventually this team's going to be a winner? I mean, you can't be bad forever. I was telling
people that. I mean, it's just.
I hate saying that, but it's true.
Yeah,
not going to be bad for 40 years, right? So it'll happen. I think
I will. It's just tough to picture it happening in 26. I think the earliest it could be is 27 if they actually hit on the quarterback in the draft next year and they have a real coach. Because that's where it starts. Again, look at the teams that are left. It's coach and quarterback, man. That's what it comes down to. Again, Sean Payton, I bet you will give his team a legit chance to win on Sunday. I don't know if I'll pick them because it's not like Drake May and Mike Vrabel aren't great, but that's what coaching does, man. Like Sean McVay, look how many playoff games that man has won with 2 different quarterbacks now. We act like it is so hard to do. It's hard to get the right people, but this concept that is constantly being laid out to the Jet fan of these rebuilds and it taking a while. And that's just not true. Objectively speaking, it's not true. Look around, man. Look at all the teams that could turn it around. And here are the New York Jets who are nowhere close because they play a different sport. And I thought this comment from Jabrams kind of nailed it. What sucks is you watch these playoff teams and you see how far we are from being a serious contender what makes it worse is two of those teams are in our division. And the Bills finally said, we're tired of coming up short. We're going to do something different and be bold. New England, they made the ultimate bold move. They got rid of a coach after a year because Robert Kraft knew in his heart of hearts he wasn't the right guy and got a legit coach. There's no reason the Jets couldn't do the same thing.
Yeah, man. Listen, there's some things that happen throughout the course of a season that are not only alarming, but it's a clear indication that you got to move on. I mean, this past season's as bad as you're going to get. And I understand people that think people like us are being harsh, saying that they should move on from Glenn, but there's nothing to suggest at all that we're going to be able to compete in this division like this comment's bringing up. This division just got a lot more difficult. And trust me, the Bills are going to hire a quality candidate because you're going to jump at that opportunity right there. So who knows what Miami's going to do. But, Jake, at the end of the day, man, you know what? If there's something we can look forward to, I do like this offensive coordinator. I do think with those draft picks that we have, they can find a quarterback in the next couple of years. And then you start building in the right direction. I think Tanner Engstrand, though, and I know people aren't in love with him, I think he's the one coach there that if you can get him some players and some talent on that offensive side, I think they'll be okay offensively. We have the tackles there. The offensive line, I'm sure will get even better. Those are young guys you got up front there, so it'll just get better. And I think the offense, don't be surprised if in a year or two we're not talking about how good this offense is and we still got issues on defense. But this offense will continue to get better for sure.
From your lips to God's ears. If you're just tuning in, we opened the show discussing the fact Sean McDermott is out in Buffalo, which means there are 10 head coach openings during this cycle. 2 have been filled, obviously, with the Giants hiring Harbaugh. And good thing they locked that one in, because I do wonder if Buffalo would have came calling and if Harbaugh would have some second thoughts. And then obviously Kevin Stefanski, same thing could be said for him. He goes to the Atlanta Falcons. So the Falcons and Giants have filled their coach openings, and there are still 8 more to go unless Woody Johnson has second thoughts and decides that thinking is, in fact, overrated, and he's firing Glenn.
Thinking is overrated.
I would not count on it. I would not count on it. We also talked about the latest with the Jets DC search. Wink Martindale, according to The Athletic, is the early front runner. And The Athletic also confirmed what many of us thought, that there have been candidates who, quote, weren't interested in the job in general, which means Aaron Glenn's got his work cut out for him to try and sell someone on why this is a good job and find the right person to take said job. Let's get caught up on Super Chats. And, of course, shout out Janice, the Jet. The great Janice in the house, gifting a 10 spot of membership. She has 10 chances to win a signed Wayne Corbett helmet on today's show. Hit the Jet chant for Janice. Love it. Thank you, Janice. Here are the 10 people that got a membership. If you hear your name, thank Janice. Jay Quat, Bronson Kosia, The Thiergott, David Lean, Amy Katera, Joe Bonesy, Barry Spa, Alexander Brown, Joan Soria, Dubson, and Sweet Peaches, all receiving a gifted membership there from Janice. Janice, hope you're doing well. You're the best. Really appreciate you. Lou B writes in, question, what is the most and the least we could get to trade back? Let's start the transition to some draft chatter here, Mr. Frankie V. Your thoughts on the Jets moving at it too? Is that possible? Which player would a team be intrigued by that would want to come up to number 2 in the first place?
Well, you're going to look at those 3 edge players. As if you're looking for a team to trade up, a team might fall in love with Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain, or David Bailey. And let's say teams at 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. If they fall in love with a guy like that and they don't feel like they're at in a position to grab them, they're going to trade up. So, and you'll look at tackle. You have the 2 tackles, Mawagoa, and then I think the kid out of Utah State or Utah. Once look, those are the premium positions that a team will trade up for. You saw with Will Anderson Jr., the Texans traded up for. a team could trade up for those players. And I do think this draft actually in the top 15, you do have 3 or 4 edges. You have a few tackles that you can look at potentially being candidates in a trade up scenario. So it's not crazy. I know fans are like, oh, there's no quarterback available at 2. Who would want to trade up? It's not really true because you have 2 other premium positions. You look at quarterback, edge, and tackle, and you have candidates there at edge and tackle that it's possible. I mean, you could get as high as another first rounder. I don't think it'll be that high, but the Jets could move back a few spots and gather up a couple 2s or something if it makes sense for them. They might like a guy that's going to be there at like 6 or 7. So
that's the hope, I think. Best case scenario.
Yeah, totally.
Ladies and gentlemen, I also would like to shout out Janice Jett. I just got an email alert that she purchased a March for Art shirt. So Janice, in addition to you gifting 10, thank you for your support. Another 5 entries for Janice. Frankie, you ready to march for Arch?
Bro. Tank for Arch, baby. I was telling Jake, I'm like, Jake, we're coming out with a shirt at uStadium, and it's the exact same shirt. March for Arch. It's Tank for Arch.
We switched it up to March for Arch because you told me you guys were doing shirts as well. So I'm like,
no.
Made this.
You could do Tank for Arch. Go ahead. We'll
whatever. If we don't laugh at ourselves, we'll cry. This started out as a bit on the show. Someone just sent me the logo, and I'm like, let me put this on a shirt. And then people actually started buying them. I'm like, that's hilarious.
That's funny.
This one is from Doug, Super Chat here. Which NFC team has a better shot to beat the Patriots? I think the Seahawks. They have an elite defense, while the Rams have the better QB, head coach, and Super Bowl experience. It's a great question. I'm personally rooting for Darnold. I would love for Sam to slay the dragon, win a Super Bowl, and do it against the Patriots. That'd be epic. You could argue Seattle also just has a better chance because they're the better, more complete team. So depends how you view the Rams. They do have Stafford who's won a ring. They do have McVay who's won a ring. They have obviously phenomenal skill position talent. Your thoughts on this? Assuming New England gets to the Super Bowl, and again, I don't know if we should 100% just assume that. I think Sean Payton's a real coach, and I bet you, for instance, Jarrett Stidham could play better than what C.J. Stroud did yesterday, and the Texans were in the game for a lot of that, despite how bad Stroud was. So I won't just say it's automatic New England goes to the Super Bowl. The line right now at FanDuel is Denver a 5.5-point underdog. But for the sake of the conversation,
the Rams are the dogs in that. Interesting. I know they're going down the road, but yeah.
So just for the sake of the conversation, though, to answer Doug's question, which team is the better matchup to end the Patriots Super Bowl run?
Listen, man, I think Sean McVay is probably the best coach in football right now. Let's call a spade there. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to another one. What's not to love about Sean McVay? I'll always give him the leg up over most coaches. And I think McDonald has a little bit of a ways to go, in my opinion, before you're going to have that much confidence in him. He's done a fantastic job, though. Seattle's a real juggernaut. They got talent everywhere, and they're coached up very well. But I'm always going to go with Sean McVay, in my opinion. I just think the Patriots, if they played the Seahawks, I'd probably give them the edge there in the Super Bowl. But if they're playing the Rams, I'll go with the Rams.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I think that's fair enough. I don't think there's a wrong answer to that.
No, there's not.
Let's see what we have here. Some more super chats. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We only have 139 likes and 700 people watching live right now. So I know a lot of people maybe have the day off from work or school. It is MLK Day. So, of course, we acknowledge that. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and appreciate you joining us live if you normally don't get a chance to hang out and watch the show live today. Let's see. We got this one from Gang Green with a super chat. He cuts the line. What he needs to use his best asset, money. Open the checkbook and let Jim Leonard name his price. Love the show, Jake. It looks like we lost Frankie there with a connection issue. We'll get him back shortly. Again, I don't think it's money for Jim Leonard. He got a raise to stay in Denver last year. They promoted him to assistant head coach. I think he did them a courtesy. I really do. If Glenn is able to get Jim Leonard, that's a big hire. That will show me something that, okay, maybe Aaron Glenn does have the recruiting capabilities. Maybe he can sell a top candidate on his vision. But Frankie, I think Jim Leonard's going to have better opportunities. I'd be stunned if he chose the Jets over other opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, he's been highly coveted for years now, Jim Leonard. So it'd have to be a perfect fit for him to really come here. again, I do think if Jim Leonard, let's say, wants to really make a name for himself, wants to come to the Jets, that second pick is going to be a real selling point. He might say, give me that David Bailey kid out of Texas Tech. I'll find a way to get him, Jermaine, and Will McDonald going. He might like some assets we have in the back half in Malachi Moore and AZ Thomas. It's a stretch, though. I definitely agree with you there. But I think that second pick being a selling point for that that opening, I don't think it's being talked about enough here. You can really get a quality defensive guy, and it'll be attached to that job directly. I mean,
but you can't tell a DC candidate, hey, we already know we're going defense with that pick.
I mean,
they could take an offensive player. They could take Cardell Tate or Jordan Tyson there for all we know.
Yeah. Jake, I'm losing you. Are you hearing me?
We hear you. Yep.
Yeah, I can't really hear you. It's going in and out. But
reset your StreamYard, Frankie. Reset, and we'll bring it back, and we'll get to the bottom of this. Apologize, everyone, for the tech issues there. With Frankie, we'll get it sorted out. Keep the super chats rolling here. Appreciate all of you tuned in. Peter Castro says going to be 10 more years of bleep. I get it, Peter. I get it. Famous J, $10 super chat. He's in a raffle. Hire Jim Leonard for DC. Sign Cousins at QB. Trade worst 2027. Number 1 for Chris Olave. Draft Arvo Reese at 2. Trade 33 and 16 and move up to 7 to pick Caleb Downs. Draft Drew Aller at 44. LFG. I like the attempt at a plan here. Also, I don't know how you could send in a $10.19 super chat, Famous J, but I like that as well. I think some of these are unrealistic, like your first point. I hope I'm wrong about that, though. I love Jim Leonard. He'd be a great hire by Glenn. I don't know if I want to trade pick 33 and 16 to move up for a safety. I like Caleb Downs. I think that's a lot. I'd rather just stay at 16, or if I'm moving up, I want to move up from one of the receivers. Like if you told me the Jets love David Bailey or they love Reuben Bain and they take that player at 2 and they realize at pick 16, hey, if we want Mekhi Lemon, he's not going to be there. We're going to have to move up. Then I understand moving up. But moving up for a safety, while he's awesome and does a lot more than a traditional safety in every aspect of the job, of the position, I just don't know if that's worth it, if that's the best use of your resources when you have so many needs. So it'd be interesting. As far as trading a first for Olave, I'm good. I get nervous with a guy with concussion history. I'd rather just draft a receiver than have to acquire a guy that's up for a new contract. You're going to have to pay him. I think it's better use of your resources. I don't hate the Aller suggestion. 44 might be too early for that, though. I don't know. We'll see how he does in the pre-draft process. Mad Team Parent says, I told my wife, you see, this is what real football looks like. She agreed. Haven't watched real football since 2015. You know, I saw that there was a tweet yesterday from my guy at ESPN New York, Alan Hahn, who I work with. Alan had a tweet, and it was, I can't believe the Patriots are going back to the Super Bowl before the Jets even make the playoffs. And my first thought wasn't even that. It was, forget the playoffs. The Jets can't even win more than 7 games in a single season over the last decade. Like, we talk about the playoff drought. That's the biggest thing. This team has failed to win more than 7 games for a decade straight, Frankie. That's how bad this has been.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been sad because we had I was saying earlier, post Rodgers, and then that was such a tease. Remember we were favored in 14 of 17 games.
Yeah, a
year ago. I mean, it's crazy to think about. We were ranked the best roster in football by Field Yates, I believe. It's crazy to think where we've gone from that point. It was a little bit expected because obviously Aaron Rodgers was what, 38 years old. So, I mean, it's not surprising that eventually things would change because he'd inevitably fall off a cliff or retire. But with that said, yeah, man, this team really, really needs to hit on some things, and it starts with coaching, but you want some nice players in there as well. I know somebody brought up Chris Olave. I don't think this is the year with this draft. I really like the receivers in this draft, actually. This draft's got some really good receivers, especially at the top. I don't think you need to do that. By the way, I didn't bring this up with that second overall pick. You have edges and offensive tackles at play. You also have receivers at play. I think Jordan Tyson's as good of a receiver I've ever seen, scouting wise. He's as good as I've seen, and I'm just throwing that out there.
Really? Would you take him second overall?
Yeah, I would. It's a risk because of his injury history. It's a pretty big risk actually, but I think the upside's just is there. There's so much upside there. You're gonna give defensive coordinators nightmares lining him up with Garrett Wilson. They're not gonna know how to guard those two. I don't care if I'm playing quarterback. Seriously, that's how good. Now they're a little similar in how they play. So I also see I hear the argument for Carnell Tate is somebody else, but I wouldn't mind at all if the Jets got one of those two guys. I like Tyson a little more, but Tate's a safer pick there. But get a receiver in here, man. A receiver, or if you're gonna go with a defensive guy, get the guy that makes a living getting to the quarterback in David Bailey. I like Reuben Bain, but there's concerns about his arm length. He's got like T-Rex arms. And is he more of a D tackle than he is an edge? That's a conversation. Some scouts don't even have him as an edge. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think at 2, go with the highest ceiling guy. Go with Jordan Tyson or David Bailey. 16, you could be a little safer if Sonny Styles is there or someone that has a high floor.
What if they took Tate at 2? Because I like Carnell Tate a lot.
I like Carnell Tate a lot too. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it at all. Carnell Tate's awesome, man. Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate put on their tape. You don't really find better tape than that out of receivers. And Mekhi Lemon too, to a degree. They're really 3 distinct kind of prospects. They're very different, and they're all very good at what they do. Jordan Tyson does everything inside out, Garrett Wilson-ish. Carnell Tate's like a Brian Thomas Jr. down the field kind of guy, even better than Brian Thomas Jr.
I was about to say, Tyson reminds me of Garrett's college tape at Ohio State when I watched
Very similar. Yeah. Notice his tape. You know what I like? Whenever he gets the ball, notice how D-backs are in hell. They're like in sand. Everyone just stops, like waiting for what he's going to do.
I bet you Tate played basketball. I haven't looked at it, but just the way he runs.
Tyson?
Yeah. I bet you Tyson played basketball.
Tyson's brother's an awesome NBA player.
Okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
He got 43 points the other night.
Yeah. I didn't realize that.
Jordan Tyson's brother's, I think he's on the Rockets. Jalen, I think it's Jalen. Jalen Tyson. Yeah. He actually the other 9 points. But yeah, good call there. Yeah, his brother's in the NBA.
Yeah, he played basketball as well. Jalen. Yeah, okay. Jalen Tyson. Yep, you're right. He was drafted by the Cavs.
Yeah.
That makes sense because I'm watching him. I'm like, this guy literally looks like he played basketball. Like he's got that fluidity like a basketball player.
He does. No, it's so true. Carnell.
I told you I haven't done a ton of prep on the draft. I'm going to the Senior Bowl next week. I'm just starting to get into it here. And I when I was watching him, I'm like, he definitely played basketball. He just looks like a hooper.
Yeah. He's actually pretty good too. He's not like a bad player for the Cavs. But yeah, Jordan Tyson. I put on his tape, and like I posted something on Twitter. If you watch that tape a little bit further down the line, you'll see even some more impressive things. The beginning is a little bit. Some of his highlight tapes, get into it a little bit, let them run a bit. And then you're like, what can't this kid really do? I do think might be a better argument for Carnell Tate because his skill set is unique from Garrett's. So you can have a guy, Ryan was talking about this on our show on Gangs, and he was right in that you want someone maybe to stretch the field so you can open things up across the middle and underneath for Garrett. So it might make more sense, Carnell Tate, but I just think Tyson's such a freakish athlete that you're gonna have nightmares trying to figure out how to guard either of those guys. And listen, I actually think Garrett Wilson, to be honest, I want to start getting him the ball down the field a little bit more. We haven't really utilized him deep down the field enough, just because of the teams he's been on in the offenses and with the quarterbacks he's had to play with. It's kind of hasn't really had the ability to really stretch the field and get going vertically like I think he can. And I think that might be his strength at the end of the day, and we haven't really unlocked it yet. I think there's another level to Garrett Wilson that I don't think we've seen yet. So I think if you get Tyson, who's more of an underneath guy, I like that pairing just as much as Carnell Tate and Garrett. But I think receiver has to be in play, Jake, especially if you want to bring in a quarterback this year, next year. Team them up with some receivers, man, and those tackles, and life will be better, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, more super chats. This one's from Mike Perez. Guys, stop with negativity. We are the punt protecting champs. Watching these playoffs to show how far we are from even being a good team. Rewatching the 2010 playoffs, we were so effing good, man. Yeah, we were. I'll tell you what, though. All right, you guys want some positivity? As bad as it might be for the Jets, there's still one stat that matters the most this time of year. All right, and I'm going to tell you what that stat is on the program when I upload this image here that is not loading. What the heck? Hold on. There we go. All right. I understand it's been bad for a while. If you listen to the show, we keep it real with you. You know, people say we're negative, but you know what? I just think we're honest about where the Jets currently are as a franchise. But this time of year, it's important to remind everyone that over the last 17 AFC championship games, there have only been 3 teams that have been featured. The Patriots, the Chiefs, and the New York Jets. So when you think about football excellence, at the end of the day, the New York Jets are still in that conversation, Frankie.
That's an amazing stat. That actually, that stat might have made my day right there. All right. I actually love that stat. Thank you. I needed that. Appreciate it.
So for everyone saying that we're so negative, look at your screen, people. Take that for data.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, man.
It really is an amazing stat if you think about it. But of course, New England's back in the AFC title game, man.
Yeah. That's a mind-blowing stat.
Just disgusting. Islip Jet fan says, football is fun. Remember the Titans. And football used to be fun. Watching other teams play is fun.
Yeah. Man, how we went a full season without getting an interception is – I told people, like, all right, so there's a spotlight on the Jets right now because of that stat, by the way. Like, people that don't even really watch football know that that's as crazy as it can get when you don't have an interception all year. We better break that streak fast because it's Kaz was saying this. It's gonna start in week 1. It's gonna be like, oh, you won 18 games in 19. Like, how long's the streak gonna go?
I don't know, but every game it will just continue to mount. There's no doubt. JR super chat just getting in, so don't know if you brought this up, but I'll die if the Bills somehow get Tomlin. I know he said he wants to take a break, but look, if I'm Mike Tomlin, there might not be a better job a year from now than coaching Josh Allen in his prime. Because, again, the knock on Tomlin's been, he doesn't want a playoff game. Well, he's also not had a real quarterback. He had 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers this year. Previously, he had Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, guys that can't play. This would be the best job, I think, that would become available either this cycle or in next year's cycle. So if I'm him and I have a chance to get that job, I'm thinking long and hard about it. I don't think he's going to do it, though. I think he's truly going to take a year off.
Yeah, I think he's going to take a year off too, man. And I, that's been out there now. He may not want to come back to coaching at all. I was hearing some stuff in that regard.
Cowher never did.
Huh?
Cowher never did. He enjoyed TV.
Yeah,
never went back.
Totally. Yeah. He's had some health issues too, a little bit there. I don't know, but you're right though. I mean, there's not a better combo there than giving Josh Allen, Mike Tomlin, and vice versa. So I think that makes almost too much sense.
Julio says the Manning family would block the Jets drafting Arch. 1, they couldn't. And 2, according to Gary Myers, who regularly speaks with the Manning family, that wouldn't be the case. And in fact, if the Jets actually had a legit coach, say they did hire Tomlin, guess what? Arch Manning would love to be a Jet at that point. Plus, Eli and that side of the family lives in the area. So that'd be appealing for the Manning family too, Gary Myers has said.
Yeah, and listen, if you watch and listen to Arch Manning, I really don't think he's that kind of person that he would like block himself from going to the Jets. He really doesn't. My impression of him, he wouldn't do that. I think he's different than Eli and Peyton. I've listened to him talk. He's one of these Gen Zers, right? Like they kind of like to be a little risque, quote unquote. They're different. They're not gonna want to like create their own narrative. I think he would find coming to the Jets, interesting and something that'll put him in the conversations with some all-timers that I think he'd be interested in. Plus, Eli played in New York. Eli's got a ton of relationships. Arch might want to come to New York. Who the hell knows? There's some opportunities there. I don't agree with that narrative. I did at a point in the beginning, but as I dove into Arch Manning a little bit, he's different than Eli and Peyton. He's not it doesn't seem like he's like a rigid thinker. I think he would like New York. I really do.
Ladies and gentlemen, a super chat from Amy. If we fire the OC, who should we hire? Thanks. Joe Brady, Mike McDaniel, never take the job. Cliff Kingsbury, someone good, please.
Yeah, I don't
think they're gonna fire Engstrand though. I think they would have done.
I don't think they should, man. I know people are saying he did a bad job this year. Look at his quarterbacks he had to deal with. Now, listen, he's not at fault at all for that development there with the quarterbacks. But come on, like you got Justin Fields out there. You had Brady Cook, Tyrod. He actually won games with Tyrod. I don't think Tanner Engstrand, the person that we want to go into this offseason with thoughts that he stinks or we need to look at firing him for next year. I really don't believe that. I think Tanner was the one interesting thing about this team in 2025. If you take it for what it's worth, I saw some things there with the receivers and concepts that he did throughout the year that I thought were very interesting. I shared a chart about how unpredictable his play calling was. He was one of the most unpredictable play callers in football, meaning that when the defense is lined up that they think they're going to run, they're throwing it, vice versa. So I wouldn't point the finger at Tanner right now. I really wouldn't.
Ladies and gentlemen, last chance for Frankie to respond to your comment here. We'll get to your calls coming up. Kale writes in, there's enough talent in the first round where we don't need to move up. We have too many holes. Hire Jim Leonard. Trust your board. Draft BPA, please. Agree with you on Leonard if they could get him again. I just have doubts. As far as BPA, look, I think it will be hard for them to trade out of 2. I do think that's the ideal scenario. I would have no issue taking receiver, best edge, one of those spots, and then, again, BPA at 16 within reason, right? You're not going to draft an offensive tackle, obviously. So I agree. Look, they have 4 picks in the top 44, 3 in the top 33. These need to be impactful players right away for Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, totally. I think, with that pick, I want someone that is an impactful player, someone that does have an incredibly high ceiling. There's some players at that spot I'm not in love with, like an Arvell Reese. I know he's been rumored to go too. It's not that I'm not in love with the player. I think he's a really, really good player. He's like a finishing piece kind of player. And what I mean is he's a tweener linebacker. He's not really an edge. He's not an inside guy. He's more of an outside guy, but he played everywhere. They even put him at slot corner a few times, lined him up there, or like an in-the-box kind of safety. He's unique because he could do a little of everything. I want somebody that's either going to score points for us or is going to get some turnovers out there. Arvell didn't have a forced fumble his entire college career. I mean, like, you got to give me somebody like a David Bailey. You got to sell me.
You don't like Arvell Reese as much as the consensus. Can you expand on that?
Well, I don't think he has a position. I think if you put him at edge exclusively, he's not big enough. He's going to get moved. He's similar to he's like a Will McDonald, but even a much lesser of in terms of an edge player. Listen, Arvell Reese is a great sideline football player and it makes a lot of tackles. I'll give him that. He is really good at doing that, but he doesn't get sacks. He doesn't force fumbles. He's not an every down edge. He's got a high pressure rate, I guess, but 7 sacks in college in 36 games or whatever he played. Like, I think it's 36. I want somebody that's more impactful. I think drafting Arvell Reese to me doesn't differentiate you enough. The defense, and he's a finishing piece kind of player.
I want a receiver over Reese.
So do I, man. Reese is good if you have an established defense and you're like, okay, we're getting gashed by outside zone runs, let's say, and we don't have enough speed sideline to sideline at the linebacker spot or the edge spot. Reese makes sense. But that's assuming you want a defense. You want something that's established there to know if you need that kind of player. I don't know if that's the Jets' problem. I mean, it seems like it is, but based on what I just said, they have that problem. But I think the defense is going to be changing so much in the next year or two. Get a guy that is an every down edge and just fills that spot and get sacks. I mean, right? Arvell, I'm telling you, he's not an every down edge. He really doesn't have one position. He's an outside linebacker, but that position's been changed in the NFL now. It's like you're either an edge or you're, a linebacker. I don't know what he plays. That's my issue with him. And that defense was awesome too. They had a bunch of guys on that defense. So it's not like him, Sonny Styles, and Caleb Downs. I don't think all three are going to live up to what they're saying they are. And I think Arvell might be the odd guy out in that conversation.
Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Who would Joe Brady draft if he was the Jet coach? Frankie V?
I think he would draft
receiver, right?
Yeah, Cardinal Tate, man. That's what I think.
I'm not against
that smile on your face. Joe Brady, Cardinal Tate. You're getting excited there, Jake.
I'd have hope. Again, I prefer someone with experience, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Joe Brady wouldn't be a major upgrade over what we're currently dealing with.
He definitely would. And
he'd fit where the league's going. He'd be an offensive strategist, and it'd make the Jets way more appealing for Arch Manning a year from now or any of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, it never made sense from day one why you're bringing in a defensive guy in Aaron Glenn, a rah-rah guy, when you don't literally have an offense or a quarterback, and you're trying to establish that part.
We had a great week of practice.
Yeah, but we practice well. That's why you bring Glenn in, for the practice.
How many times is he going to say next year we had a great week of practice?
You know what's great? I honestly, people think I'm kidding when I say this. I'm not, because I think Jet season ticket holders get screwed over more than any other season ticket holder in sports. You don't have you don't have your own stadium. The stadium experience is dog crap. They increase prices coming off a 3-14 season. I think the Jets should allow season ticket holders to attend practice. Now, you have to put your phones on one of those things that comedians use, so you can't film anything. But we always hear how well the Jets practice, right? No team, as we know, in the NFL is better Wednesday through Friday than the Jets. I suggest building more stands that they have at training camp, allowing fans to watch practice every day, and at least you're getting a show that is better than the on-field performance on Sunday. People think I'm nuts. If they practice as well as they always say, let fans, season ticket holders, attend practice. It's better than the game day experience on Sundays. Your thoughts?
That's a fantastic idea. I think they should consider building also another stadium, and they can just host practices. Like it's the practice stadium, Again,
no team is better Wednesday through Friday than the New York Jets.
We're the practice champions, dude.
We're the Patriots and the Chiefs combined in practice.
Yeah.
That's why the Jets were good on Thursday night 2 seasons ago. They were 2-0 on Thursdays.
Yeah, because it was midweek. Yeah, I agree. It was like they were practicing. Yeah. Jake, I think you're onto something there.
I'm telling you, I've had this idea for a while. People think I'm nuts, but I think the Jets need to do a better job doing something for their season ticket holder. Let them watch practice.
You know what, man? I cannot believe that this team went from Rex Ryan to the 3 guys after that, or 4 guys after that. Like,
are we counting Ulbrich? Who just got, by the way, Jeff Ulbrich, 3-year extension, got a raise to be the DC for Stefanski in Atlanta.
You know what? He's a good defensive coordinator.
Yeah, of course he is.
He's very good.
And Arthur Blank said it was a priority to keep him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He basically told Stefanski, if we hire you, can you keep Ulbrich? And Stefanski said, yeah, he's really good.
Yeah. You know what? He was the one guy that we probably should have kept here. The problem is you made him the interim coach, and then he interviewed and he was gone anyway. So I guess it wouldn't have made sense really necessarily because he was the interim, but it would have been nice to have him here. He's a young guy, great DC. whomever comes in next, he can stick around. He's a guy that's going to be somewhere for a while. So like, people like Wink Martindale, like Albrecht will be Wink Martindale, in 10 or 15 years. He's going to have that much experience, and he is that good of a DC. He really is. But Jake, what I was saying with the Rex thing, these coaches, man, they all say the same things, and they tell us what we want to hear, but not what we need to hear. And that's the issue, I think, with Aaron Glenn. Rex Ryan didn't tell you what you wanted to hear. He was honest. He came from the heart, and the team believed in him. The fans believed in him. The organization believed in him. You got to put the right messaging out there, Glenn. Stop telling us what we want to hear. I don't want to hear about a great practice. I don't want to hear everything's okay. Trust me, bro, kind of plan stuff. Tell me the reality. Tell us what's really going on. Your players will appreciate that. The media, fans, they'll appreciate that stuff. It's always, just wait. We're changing the culture. We have a foundation. How many times are we going to say the same damn thing? Have some guts, too. Do what Rex did. Rex came in before he coached a freaking down, before he coached a game. What did he say? I'm not here to kiss Bill Belichick's rings. I'm not. And they beat him, right? Like, that's what you got to do. This is New York, man. Have some freaking guts. Stop being soft. And your whole thing is you're not soft. You're a tough guy. Be tough and tell us the reality. It takes more to tell someone the truth than it does telling them what they want to hear.
I think the problem with that, though, Frankie, is I think Glenn truly believed he could take this team that had all these close losses in 2024 with Salah's staff, and he would come in and with toughness and preaching these old school principles that still matter to an extent, but it's not where the modern NFL is. They'd be able to turn it around. Again, I do the show with Tannenbaum every week, and when he's defending Glenn, he's like, he comes with the recommendation from Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells, and he comes with the recommendation of like all these old school guys he always references, and that's not what wins. And even when he references Dan Campbell, it's like, yeah, but what has Dan Campbell done when he hasn't had the best offensive mind in the sport as his play caller? They've missed the playoffs more times than they've made it overall in Dan Campbell's tenure. I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but I just think the problem is Glenn might be a successful head coach if it was 2005. I don't think he could be a successful head coach in 2026. I think that's the big issue.
Yeah, man. And to be the kind of coach that he wants to be, you got to be that kind of way consistently all the time. He came in with his hair on fire, pissed off at everybody. Then as he was losing, he starts taking more of a back seat. That's not how it is. Who are you as a coach? I think he's trying to figure that out. It's tough to be Bill Parcells and Belichick. And those guys never cracked, ever. They were always that guy. Glenn cracked a little bit this year. That was a disappointing thing.
He changed the message a lot, and that's why fans. Yeah. And I had Brian Costello, your co-host on Gangzo here, on my radio show yesterday, and we had him on, and Tannenbaum asked him, "Hey, like, what would Aaron Glenn say he needs to improve on?" And Kaz was like, "Well, the problem with that is he never actually gives specifics, so it's tough for fans to buy in when the head coach never actually gives specifics, and he says things like, I
know it's hard to say, just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
And can't point to anything tangible. Also, when he did try to give specifics, Samini asked the best question at that end of season presser. This answer should give zero Jet fans confidence.
Given your defensive background, and given the way your quarterbacks performed this year, why should people feel confident that you have the infrastructure in place to pick a quarterback and develop him properly?
You know what? That's a good question. And we're going to exhaust everything that we can to make sure that we surround our quarterbacks now, and if we get any quarterbacks in the future, right, with the guys that's going to help them. And then again, that's a whole part of, making sure that we evaluate everything that's going on, make sure we have the right people here that can help the quarterback. And I'm not saying that we don't have that. That's
now go listen to a Ben Johnson presser, Mike Vrabel, Liam Cohen, Sean Payton. Go listen to any of the best coaches in the league, McVay. Listen to how they could fluently speak about strategy, X's and O's, things they're implementing, and Glenn gives you nothing. So I don't know why any fan would trust him.
Yeah, and even that answer right there, you don't have the infrastructure right now.
Own that. Say our offense is terrible.
What I'm saying.
We didn't have the infrastructure. We're going to fix it.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't tell it like it is. We know you don't have the infrastructure.
We watched the
we
season,
high?
man. Were we blind?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like, and what Fiore was saying, that's my issue. You just saw it. Yeah, he came with that approach, but he's really not like that. He didn't call how he didn't call out Justin Fields at all this year, by the way. I'm not for calling guys out publicly, but sometimes it's good to put your foot down a little bit and call somebody out, because that's what accountability, that's really where it stems from. If everyone thinks they could, if everyone there thinks they could get away with everything, you're a substitute teacher at that point. Why he didn't call out, Glenn didn't call out Fields, who literally said, I am not playing anymore. Go screw yourself. When you guaranteed him $30 million is a slap in your face, honestly. It's not his fault that you stink, Fields. He thought it was, clearly. He didn't believe in the guy that believed in him. But to that point, I don't remember once this year where Glenn really said something. I'm like, damn, wow, that's a message. Good for you. Like Dan Campbell did with Jahmyr Gibbs a few years ago. People remember that?
Yep.
When he had a TikTok and he had the whiteboard, Campbell's like, I assure you that'll never happen again. You know, and I was like, whoa. Like, you're relaxed there, Dan. I wish Glenn did a little bit more of that. If that's what his MO is going to be as a coach. Parcells did that. Belichick did. What do you do as a coach then? What the hell? What are you doing? What are you, just like a placeholder?
That's why when I asked the question that has become like a meme on social media, what does Aaron Glenn do well as a head coach? No one can actually give you a real answer, because you don't know what he does well as a head coach. Because the answer, for being blunt, is nothing. He doesn't do anything well. If you want to give him credit for Banjo, fine, but that's like the bare minimum you can come up with.
That's it. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have that answer.
He never once stepped in to try and fix this defense. I think it's a great comment. I've emphasized this a lot. Veteran Jet fan just wrote it again here. Like when he said after the Jags game, we're running the Wilkes defense, and then fired him. That told me all I need to know about who this guy is as a head coach. You're the defensive-minded head coach. Your defense was supposed to be a strength this year. That's how it was sold to the Jet fan by you and everyone else. Coaching, man, it's coaching. All these guys were going to break out. Don't tell me, well, Jake, they traded Sauce and Quinnen. They were allowing 30 points per game with those guys and started 0-7. That's the whole point. He doesn't do anything as a head coach. He can't even fix the defense. The fact that Jet fans are so, locked into who the DC is going to be, that tells you all you need to know. Because if we can't trust Aaron Glenn to fix the defense and hire a good defensive coordinator, what are we doing? You know? And I see this guy Ja here is the worst of the worst, the ultimate Glenn bootlicker. All he does is talk about how bad the Jets roster is, like it's an expansion team, and it's not. Don't tell me the defensive players were terrible. Jamie Sherwood a year ago was voted team MVP. Quincy Williams is 2 seasons removed from being a first-team All-Pro linebacker. Sauce is a 2-time All-Pro. Quinnen is a former first-team All-Pro. They invested big money in Brandon Stevens. They invested $10 million in Andre Sisco. They made the move to move on from the previous regime and said they were going to coach guys up, and McDonald took a major step back. Jermaine had a terrible year. Like, their best player on defense was probably Jawan Briggs, who wasn't coached up by the Jets. He didn't arrive until the season was about to start. Like that you could point to one guy who got better on defense this year. That's coaching.
Totally, man. Totally. I mean, and look at some of the quarterbacks, too, we played this year. If you go down the list, you want to talk about – these aren't like juggernaut quarterbacks.
No.
Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kirk Cousins. I mean, like, it's not – we didn't play Mahomes this year. We didn't play Herbert. We didn't play some of the best quarterbacks in football. Burrow didn't play when we played them. I mean, like, I don't know, man. It wasn't like the schedule was so daunting with offensive juggernauts like the Bears, where like you're worried, or the Rams. We didn't play any of these teams.
We played 42-year-old Rodgers, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Tua, who got benched, by the way, 2 games, a game and a half after the Jets played him the second time. Dak, Bo Nix, Bryce Young, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Drake May, an injured Lamar Jackson. He was not right in that game, for those who remember. Kirk Cousins, Tua again, Trevor Lawrence, our rookie and Shuck, Drake May, and then Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there were some good names on that list for sure. But yeah, it's not like some juggernaut schedule where you can't get an interception all year, or you can't have one game that I'm looking at the defense and like, all right, Glenn's got his fingerprints on this. Chris Harris gave up 106 points in those last 3 games. I mean, like, that's embarrassing, man. It just is.
How funny would it be if he got the DC job?
I mean, it's not impossible, and what we did with what Trevor Lawrence did against us was embarrassing. He had freaking 7 touchdowns, or what he has. No, he had 6 touchdowns. If he had another touchdown, he's tying an NFL record. If he had 8 touchdowns, he's breaking the NFL record for total touchdowns for a quarterback. They took him out in the 3rd quarter with like 5 or 6 minutes left. Drake May, the same thing happened 2 weeks later. He had 5 touchdowns. They took him out midway through the 3rd. He might have had 7, again, tying the NFL record. You can't let that happen. It's embarrassing. Why did you fire Steve Wilkes? I said it on your show. There's no point in this firing. I'm telling you, Glenn's going to look worse because he's not going to want to coach the defense. You're leaving Chris Harris out there for the dead. That's it. I mean, like, there was no point of firing Steve Wilkes. What the hell was the point of that?
Great question.
You scapegoated somebody during the season, and then your defense looked even worse. That looks bad on you, man. I don't think he foresaw that, but whatever.
Well, don't worry. If you want to be optimistic, Jet fans, with 10 openings this offseason and the amount of openings we had last year, that essentially means that half the league will either have a first or a second-year head coach going into 2026, which means if Glenn can't turn it around, the Jets will be maybe one of the better openings next year. If they have Arch Manning and they have a chance to get a top coach, right? And even not Arch. I use Arch as the example because he's considered the top guy, but whether it be Dante Moore or Julian Sayin or insert whoever, there'll be a lot of quarterbacks that hopefully live up to the hype we're giving them a year out. We know how risky that is. And the Jets will be in position to pair that QB up with a legit coach. That's how you got to look at it if you want to try and be optimistic, if you don't believe in Aaron Glenn. Because I don't, but that's how I'm going to choose to be still positive that let's hope they could hit on the pick at 2, 16, spend the free agent money wisely, improve the roster. So if the coaching is not good enough, we ultimately can make a pivot and bring in someone who can elevate this team.
Totally. I think next year's quarterback class for sure is going to be better, Jake. Why? Because if you look at the pool right now, and you look at those top, let's say, 10 quarterbacks into 27, they're all really, really good, and they have a lot of experience already. And you're going to have to factor in 4 or 5 new guys that kind of pop up. There'll be 3 or 4 guys for sure in 2027 for the Jets. I'm confident in that.
Let me end this question or end this segment with you, Frankie, here, this show with you, and I'll stay on for the calls, everyone. Here's the question. I'll ask everyone this. And the answer could change many times between now and draft night.
What does Aaron Glenn do well?
Unfortunately, we know the answer to that one. Here's the better question. The Jets draft who at 2 and 16 if the draft was right now?
Who do I want or what the Jets would do?
Yeah, what do you think the Jets would do?
I think they're going to draft David Bailey at 2. And you know what? I'll go Mekhi Lemon at 16.
All right.
I think he'll get there, considering the defensive players and the tackles. I think Lemon will get to 16, and I think that's a great spot for him too. So I'm going David Bailey and Mekhi Lemon. That'd be a hell of a first 2 picks, huh?
All right. What would you do then?
I would draft Jordan Tyson at 2. Risky, and then I would try to see if we could get Sonny Styles or the best defensive player at 16. I think they need to do one or the other, right? Like if at 2, I would either go, if you're going to go Jordan Tyson, then go defense 16, or David Bailey at 2 and then take BPA, offensive player at 16. But that's what I would do, Jake. I really like Jordan Tyson. I'm a huge fan. So I'd go Jordan Tyson and BPA, preferably Sonny Styles at 16. I think would make a lot of sense to me.
Tanky, well done. Everyone check
Appreciate you.
All the content uStadium produces and watch Frankie, Brian Costello, and Ryan Sampson on the New York Post Gangs All Here Jets podcast. You're the man, Frankie.
Thanks, Jake. I'll see you soon, man.
Frankie V with us. Hit the like button. I should mention this again. We have a Wayne Corbett sign helmet up for grabs today. I'm going to gift the membership right now, and whoever gets it will be entered in the Asmaniac raffle. We have 10 people that have entered. It's all by the same person, Janice Jet is in the raffle for 10. Plus, everyone who sent in a $10 super chat or higher qualified as well. You'll have this show and our afternoon show to enter. One membership from yours truly has been gifted and went to listener Dill7798. Give him a hug, Woody.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
If you tuned in late, we covered some of the latest news around the NFL, obviously with the McDermott firing happening right before we went live, plus reports in The Athletic from Zach Rosenblatt that Jets did look into some DC candidates that, quote, weren't interested in the job, and also in the story, the early front runner is Wink Martindale to be the DC. I think that'd be an uninspiring hire, but again, I don't have a whole lot of faith in the hire, so we'll see. I'll give whoever they hire a chance. That's fair to them, but I wouldn't expect a significant turnaround if Wink is the DC. His recent track record is not good. All right, we don't need to act like it has been. I don't care how many reporters Wink Martindale's agent contacts to try and get his client's name out there so he can get back into football after, Michigan blew up their whole coaching staff. Mad Team writes in, need a DT in the worst way. Who's available through the draft or free agency? I would not draft a 3 tech in the first round. I don't think that's good value. I wouldn't do it. I'd rather take a chance on a receiver at 16. I'm not doing it at 2. Now, if you take Bailey or Bain, and part of the appeal is maybe those guys could play inside, or I guess Bain would be, as Frankie said. I don't know. That's different. Now, who's available in free agency is an interesting concept because you could find defensive tackles in free agency. They do hit the market. He did play inside a little bit for the Jets. I'd love to see the Jets bring John Franklin Myers back. Wouldn't you guys? Guy's a good football player, good leader, tough. Sheldon Rankins is available too. You could poach someone off that Texans defense. DJ Reader's a free agent. He overlapped with Glenn in Detroit. Maybe you signed Daquan Jones from Buffalo. I don't know. There's guys. Hey, Sean McDermott could be the Jets DC. Right? That won't happen. JR Jet, every time AG mentions practice, I want to cue the Allen Iverson, practice. We talking about practice? Not a game.
We had a great week of practice. We talking
about practice. Bang Mateo says, Frankie Jordan Tyson lacks yak. Very low. No at number 2. I'm more concerned about the health stuff than Tyson. I don't think he lacks yak. You watch his highlight tape, it's a lot of throwing him the ball in the screen game and him making guys miss and making plays. He reminds me a lot of Garrett. I like Cornell Tate a lot too, though, and he feels safer because of the lack of injury stuff, but I get the appeal of Tyson. He's explosive. Jabram says, Lemon reminds me so much of Steve Smith back in the day. Plays bigger than his size. Physical, great hand catcher. Goes full speed every rep. I'd be happy with him at 16. I don't know if he makes it to 16. He's a stud, though, man. The only knock on him is the modest size and strength for his position. But the guy is great. He explodes out of his breaks. His footwork is excellent. Finds soft spots in coverage. I like him a lot. We're going to do, I don't know if we're doing Lemon this week. I got to look at my schedule with Joe Blewett. But our film review tomorrow, we're going to start breaking down prospects so people get excited. On that note, who's ready for some calls? I am. Ladies and gentlemen, first up today is a man who's been hit in his head many, many times.
He's pointing. Garrett Box, point at you. Garrett Box, he point at you. Garrett Box, I'm pointing. I'm pointing. I'm pointing. I'm pointing. Garrett Box, point at you. I point.
What up, Jake?
Hello, Gary.
I missed the beginning of the show. Is Frankie on every Monday, or is this a new thing?
He's on every Monday because, the weeklies with Joe B, there's no games to react to.
Okay. So that's like a new thing moving forward, Frankie Mondays?
For the offseason.
For the offseason. Yeah. Were you guys surprised that McDermott got fired? I kind of forecasted that. Like, I kind of said he might get fired after that loss. But you guys,
I thought he
surprised
was
for that?
safe because they won a game, and the way they lost, it's tough to put that on the coach, right? I mean, Josh Allen turned the ball over 4 times. They had another fumble, so they had I don't know. I think there's been times where it's been fair to blame McDermott for some of the in-game coaching stuff, but I didn't put that loss on him. So I guess I was a little surprised. I'm also surprised they're keeping the general manager Brandon Beane, who got a promotion out of all this. I would have just started fresh and hired a new GM and let that guy work with the coach.
I looked at it like he's kind of in the same position as Tibbs. Like, yeah, he got us this far, but can he get us over the top? I'm like, I think Tibbs could. So I don't think it's a 1-for-1 analogy, but I think the decision making was the same. I think they look at McDermott. We're running out of time. We got 5 years left, let's say, with Josh Allen, right? Each year we lose, it hurts. Like, we're not getting closer. We lost in the second round again. Like, we're not making progress here. Like, we're kind of stuck in the mud. So McDermott's gone. Like, I mean, I don't think Buffalo was necessarily good enough. Like, if you look at their roster, it's not the roster they had 2 years ago. Like, I don't think they were good enough, but it's rough to kind of get stuck here with Josh Allen. You got what I think is the best player in football, and you're not getting over the hump. So what do you do? Like, the coach goes. I'm not saying it's the right thing or the wrong thing. I just kind of saw that coming. I've never been a big McDermott fan, but he keeps winning, right? Like, I mean, they've had a winning record every year besides his first year. They've made the playoffs every year besides his first year, right? So he's done a good job, I guess. I've never been a big fan. I wasn't shocked. You got to make a move at some point if you're Buffalo. I did want to ask you, I had this idea, and I was looking at the Jimmy Johnson draft chart thing with the points for each draft pick. If we traded the 33rd and the 44, that point value would equate to like another mid-round first pick. Is that something you guys would like? Would you be interested in that? Like trading 33 and 44 to get back into the middle of the first round?
Say it again. So you're trading pick 33 and what else?
33 and 44. If you combine those,
Okay.
look at the Jimmy Johnson chart. 33 and 44 equate to about a 15 or a 16th pick, right? Somewhere in between there.
I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you be interested? Like, is that some 3 first rounders? Would you combine those 2 seconds to try to? I don't know if you're going to take them. I'm just saying.
Well, it depends who the player is, right? Like, why? I don't want to just say yes without knowing. Like, am I doing that to get a quarterback that I believe in? I wouldn't love it because I don't want them really to do that for a 1-year starter in Ty Simpson or a 6-foot quarterback in Chambliss. But I think you could get a really good player at 44. So I don't want to just trade back into round 1 for the sake of doing it. I rather honestly prefer the Jets move out of 16 if there's a player they don't love, or move out of 33. That pick 33 is a great pick because think about it. Whoever teams have first round grades on that somehow doesn't get drafted at night 1, you have an entire day to start a bidding war to negotiate with other teams that want to move up for the first player picked of round 2. So I'd love to try and get more resources in that scenario rather than trade back in.
The 33rd pick is a great pick to have. Like, it's like a coveted spot, right? It's like basically an extended first. You get that whole day to kind of decide who you want with that pick. Right. People are bidding for that pick. If the quarterback dropped out of the first round, now people are trying to trade up to 33 to get that. Like, it's a good position to be sitting into. That's why I didn't know if you guys would be interested in trading it to try to get back in the first. But I kind of agree. Like, just keep it. Like, keep all the picks. Try to hit on as many picks as you can because the Jets roster is terrible. We're in a position here where we just like whatever position we need, whatever player we draft, that's a position of need because I did like Frankie saying take Tyson 2nd overall. I know that's not going to be popular, but I would consider doing it. If you get 2 A plus receivers in Wilson and Tyson, whatever quarterback you bring in, you've made his life a lot easier. Right,
Agreed.
Like people thought Tua was a good quarterback because he had 2 A+ receivers, right? And I'm not comparing these guys to those guys. What I'm saying is having 2 great receivers like that, assuming Tyson pans out, makes life easier for everyone. And then, as far as yesterday, the game, are we rooting for Sam? Are we rooting for Sam?
100%. Why not?
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna win. Like I think the Rams are gonna win the Super Bowl again. But I'm rooting for Sam. And then
anyone but New England, but I would love to see Sam win.
I think Denver's going to win. I think people are putting too much in this Bo Nix injury. I think Bo Nix is a game manager. I think it's Sean Payton's team. I think that defense is staggering, and I don't love the way Drake may look. I mean, the Patriots won because of what CJ did. Right? I like CJ, but my God.
Well, here's the thing, right? By accident, Jared Stidham's playing better than what we just saw CJ Stroud do yesterday, and they were in that game despite how bad Stroud was playing. Now, the Texans defense is, I think, maybe the best defense we've seen in the league in the last 8 to 10 years. It's that good. Denver does have a good defense, though, and they have a great coach. So they should have a chance at home to keep that game close, and you got a chance. I agree with you. I think anyone just anointing New England automatically to the Super Bowl, they'll probably will win, but I don't think it's going to be as easy of a path as we continue to say it in sports media right now.
I'm not a football gambling guy, so I'm not saying take my advice. I'm just saying Denver getting 5.5. That's the bet you want to make right there. Like they ain't losing the game by 6.
Peyton Manning couldn't complete a pass, and they won that game against Brady and Belichick in the 2015 AFC title game.
I'm saying Denver minus 5.5. That's your bet. So you're taking New England and LA, or you're taking New England and Seattle?
I'm going to take probably LA and New England.
Okay. I'm going to go LA. I think Denver's going to win the game. I think it's going to be LA. I think the game's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be 13-10. I think it's going to be brutal. But I think Denver's going to win that game at home, and I think LA is going to win. So I got LA and Denver. And you guys, this is not really at you, but the rest of them, the Caleb Williams fans club. Wow. 2 playoff games, 5 interceptions at 52% completion percentage. Wow. Yikes.
I mean, you're just gonna gloss over. He made one of the most unbelievable plays at the end of that game.
Let me ask you. Let me make an analogy. You got a basketball player, right, who shoots 20% from the field, has 10 turnovers a game, but he hits a shot from half court. Is that a good basketball player?
It's not the same thing as a quarterback.
It's exactly the same thing. I don't care that he made some schoolyard crazy sandlot play.
Yeah, but that matters. That stuff matters. He's in his second year. He's in his first year with the coach. He can improve.
But he hasn't.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Trevor Lawrence is finally playing well. Coaches.
It's been 5 years. All right, this is his 5th year. Are we sure that Trevor Lawrence isn't going to regress to the means? Are we sure that this is the new Trevor Lawrence? I'm not.
Well, I think he's got a real coach, and I think the Bears have a real coach too. I mean, I'm more confident in Caleb getting better than I would be Lawrence.
Well, I wasn't high on Lawrence. I'm not like that. I wasn't as low as on Lawrence as I was on Caleb, but I was. I never.
You said Caleb was a 3rd round talent.
Yeah, 3rd round pick, and I said Lawrence was a 2nd, which I think is accurate too, right?
3rd round. If we're doing a redraft, he's still going in the top 3. He's not falling out of the 1st round or the 2nd round.
You can't win with him. You can't.
I don't know if you can. They just won the division.
Okay, this is like a Tim Tebow thing. Okay, he has some crazy run. He makes a crazy play. Demaryius Thomas, 70-yard. Okay, you're not winning like this. Jake, he completes 52% of his passes and threw 5 interceptions in 2 games.
But that assumes he can't get better. I don't think he's hit his ceiling yet. He's in his 2nd year and year 1 with the coach.
Okay, then you're hoping on him improving the.
Yes, that's how it works. Guys get better. What was Josh Allen his first 2 years? He wasn't anywhere near the player.
That's why I don't like Sean McDermott. The offense they ran was ridiculous. They ran an offense like he was Tim Tebow. They tried to run him all the time. It's like, especially his first year. It's like
because he couldn't throw accurately yet.
Saying,
it took
we're
time.
Gonna jab from the outside. It's like, okay, he's got a good jab, but I don't think that's what makes him special. It's like the way they used Josh Allen, I thought was
because he
was
developing.
Was bad.
Gary, it was the same thing with Lamar Jackson, too. Guys get better. Lamar couldn't throw. Allen couldn't throw accurately. They both improved.
I'm trying to go back. I don't ever remember. I remember Allen getting a lot of crap his first year.
Do you remember Lamar Jackson's playoff performance against, I think it was
the playoff performance was bad.
The Chargers?
Yeah, it was bad.
Okay. Guys get better, man. That's what happens.
Okay. I don't. Okay. Then Caleb is going to get better. I right now.
Yeah. You don't think Ben Johnson's a great coach?
No, I think he's in the ideal situation. Now, I think there's going to be 1 or 2 more years of this, and Ben Johnson's like, you got to get rid of this guy. I can't win with this guy. You look at the Bears yesterday. Defense, A+. Offensive line, A+++. The running game, A+++. Some reason they didn't win the game. Like, what's the missing denominator here? Running game was great. Offensive line was great. Defense was great. What happened here?
They played a Hall of Fame coach and a potential Hall of Fame quarterback. It was a great game.
Yeah, and they held them to 17 points in regulation. Why didn't you win the game?
And so the same thing could be said about the Rams. The Rams have a really good defense too.
Okay.
If the Rams beat Seattle in a game that went to overtime on Thursday Night Football, they would have been the 1 seed in the playoffs instead of Seattle. The 2 best teams in the NFC are playing on Sunday.
What I'm saying is Chicago did everything else you need to win.
They won 13 games in the regular season. You act like they were like a 9-8 wild card team.
No, I think Ben Johnson's a great coach. I think he did a great job. Like I think he's the best thing to happen to the Bears. I really do. I just think you're gonna look at that quarterback and you're gonna say, yes, he made a crazy sandlot play where he dropped back 40 yards. I don't know why.
Drake May was terrible yesterday too.
It was not good. Drake May was,
he was terrible. He got lucky that CJ Stroud was
not good.
Like a love child of Zach Wilson and Justin Fields.
For the first half of that game, CJ was actually worse than I ever saw Zach Wilson play.
He should have been benched. He should have been benched. The fact they didn't go to Davis Mills to start the third quarter, I lost a lot of my faith in D'Amico Ryans as a head coach.
We were saying that. I was listening on Addy's show. We were saying that too. I would have benched him too. It was so bad. But it's a tough decision. Like this, the girl that took you to the dance. You're gonna dump her now. I don't know, Jay. It's a tough. I would have benched. I'm with you. It is a tough decision.
By the way, if you're going to bring up Josh Allen and compare him to Caleb, go watch. I was at the game. Go watch Josh Allen's performance in the 2019 wild card, or I guess it was, the 2019 wild card game against the Houston Texans. He sucked. They melted down. He had brutal turnovers in that game. Guys get better. Allen was so bad in that playoff game, his first ever playoff start.
So you think Caleb Williams is going to be comparable to Josh Allen?
I think Caleb Williams is on his way to being a top 10 quarterback in the sport. I don't know if it'll be next year, but I think he has a chance to continue to get better and better. His first year, you got to remember, is a wash. He had no coaching. It was like Lawrence and Urban Meyer.
I've acknowledged that. I said I'm not going to hold it. That was Adam Gaze bad. I'm not going to hold that against him. I said that. And
so time will tell, but I mean, we can't sit here and act like he didn't have overall an incredibly successful second season in the league. They won a playoff game. They won the division, and they have a real coach, though, and he'll get better.
So just to confirm, he's won exactly as many playoff games as Tim Tebow when Tim Tebow was 2 years into his pro career. Oh, it's very comparable.
Watch the games, man. You're smart. Thank you, Gary. I can't yell at you anymore. Watch the games, man. You can't compare Caleb as a football quarterback to Tebow. If they were winning the way Tebow was winning some games, I would agree with you. But come on. Tim Tebow's not making that throw that Caleb Williams made at the end of the game yesterday to Loveland in the end zone. I don't have it in me to yell at Gary today. I'm not even a Bears fan. I don't really care if they're good or not. I rooted for them. I like to see dog crap teams do well because it gives me hope as a Jet fan, but I don't really care. If someone else is a Bears fan that wants to argue with Gary about Caleb, please feel free. Paul says the Rams didn't have Devontae the last time they played in Seattle. And now they do, so we'll see. Because that game was on a short week. Curly says we have the 33rd pick because of the 33rd team. That's right. That is right. All right, let's knock out some calls here. Again, if you want in on the Wayne Corbett signed helmet, make sure you enter the Asmaniac raffle because, I mean, who wouldn't want a signed helmet by one of the all-time great Jets? Ladies and gentlemen, our next caller, get your guesses in. I said get your guesses in.
What's up, Jake? How are you?
Hello, Kyle.
So I wasn't paying strict attention to that last game yesterday. I was a little bit dehydrated from the previous day's games and needed to get some rest and went up to bed a little bit early. But I was pleasantly surprised to check FanDuel. Apparently, Cole Kmet had an anytime touchdown yesterday. So that was...
So you won. Nice job.
I was very, very pleased with it. I think we need to think a little bit about draft philosophy, right? Like that 16 pick, and I'll be the first one to say that every draft is different. Like there are different areas of strength in every draft that will cause you to kind of break the rules a little bit. But I'm with you. Generally speaking, defensive tackles, you want to take them a little bit later. Specifically, one techs, right? If we're going to keep a similar system to what we ran this year, that would be like a mid-round type guy, right? And we've seen in recent years, like Quinnen was a 3-tech that went high. Was it Mason Thomas was another 3-tech that went high last year, right? Like at 16, a guy like Mikhail, I mean, I like to take guys that are, projected as slots like second, third, fourth round. So it's just a matter of, maximizing what you got here. I think you could go either way. Just to touch on what Gary was saying, if you see somebody that falls right, and they're in like the 19 or 20 range, right, and say Sadiq is there, right? Do you think that Sadiq would be worth 33 and 44? I don't know.
I don't know if he is, to be honest. I get nervous with tight ends.
But I mean,
he's not the same level of prospect as Bowers or Loveland or Warren, it doesn't sound like.
But he is the clear number one in this class, and in a class that's kind of weak. That's the only reason I say that. Or even Simpson. Like, what if Simpson's there, right? Like, would you go up to go get Simpson if he fell a little bit further than you thought he would, right? Like, if you're going to truly stick to your board, like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, because if you like Simpson in the mid-20s, you would grab him at 16, right?
You probably would have to grab him at 16 because you don't want to lose him. I don't.
Right.
I hope they don't take Simpson at 16 though. I really don't want them to do that.
But then it comes back to what you and I were discussing for all these many weeks, right? Like, you're probably punting for your long-term quarterback till next year.
Well, unfortunately, when they retained Aaron Glenn, my approach of you got to get a quarterback, I just,
the window.
Yeah, again, and no one else really emerged as a guy that I'd feel comfortable taking with number 2 or 16. That's honestly the truth. I figured Moore would play better down the stretch and we'd be all about it, or Simpson would play better. And like, these guys, like, do you feel good about any of these quarterbacks besides Mendoza right now? I personally don't. I'd rather build the team. Glenn, prove you can coach by finding good players, winning more games, showing competency with a Mariota Cousins type, Kyler type as your quarterback, and you might get that third year if you show competency.
Well, I mean, that's one way you could go, right? Like, say you're able to get 2 or 3 decent players in free agency, plug and play type starters, right, on the defensive side. One thing you could do is you could say, okay, we're going to take Tate at 2. We're going to take, I can't believe Jeremiah Love is there at 16, and you go up and get Sadiq in like the early 20s or whatever, right? And then you would have an offense that was turnkey for whatever quarterback that came in, and you would continue to build the defense next year and get an opportunity to get your quarterback. That's one way to think about it, right? I can't wait. Draft season's my favorite.
This is it. You live for this.
I do. I mean, I think most Jets fans probably feel that way at this point. Like,
especially now with all the picks we have.
Yeah. So, like, free agency is, kind of fool's gold. You get goaded into overspending, and there's not a lot of players that are desirable to kind of make it. It's probably smart to do the bargain barrel type stuff and do some comparison shopping. But on to the draft. I can't wait. Thanks, Jake.
Kyle, you're the man. Great call. Looking forward to your takes during draft season. Kyle loves the draft. Adirondack Fly Guy, he is in the raffle for one. Ralphie in the house. What about trading from 33 to pick 30/32 for Simpson and have the 5th-year option on him? That would make sense if you're going to do it from a team building standpoint. We've seen teams do this, right? Lamar, that situation happened. Teddy Bridgewater, that happened. There's got to be one more. Those are always the 2 I reference. If anyone in the chat can remember another example of a team trading back into the end of round 1 for the 5th-year option. Jordan Love, maybe. But that wasn't like 29 through 32, I don't believe. Veteran Jet fan says, I think Ty Simpson's going to wow in the workout process, be a top 10 pick, supply and demand. He could be. I wouldn't take him. The data overwhelmingly tells you that guys with that little amount of starts, it's probably not worth it. 15 career starts for Ty Simpson in college. Again, over the last 15 years, here are all the quarterbacks drafted in round 1 with 20 or fewer career starts in college. Anthony Richardson, 13. Lance, 17. Haskins, 14. Kyler Murray, 17. Trubisky, 13. Tannehill, 19. Cam Newton, 14. It's a long time ago for Cam. What do we have here? We got more callers on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, he's one of the biggest fraudulent Jet fans ever, and his Bills lost over the weekend.
They call me Alan, and everybody hates me, cause I'm a super douchebag.
Can you believe that Drake May is about to go to the Super Bowl? Is that crazy?
Why are you like giddy? And
it's just crazy.
You're smiling.
Crazy. It's crazy. It's nuts.
They've had the easiest path to ever get to a Super Bowl.
Please stop.
What do you mean stop? What do you mean?
Stop.
They played playoff choker Justin Herbert without an offensive line.
All
and
I heard
CJ
is that
Stroud
they never beat anybody. They beat
Who have
Herbert,
they beaten?
They beat the Texans.
Who have
I'm
they
sorry.
beaten?
So if they win this week and they go to the
CJ
Super Bowl,
Stroud played Alan. CJ Stroud
he was
played.
horrendous. I get it.
So what are you talking about?
But why do you? Okay, if they're one win away from the Super Bowl,
and they're playing a backup quarterback in the AFC Championship game. It's the easiest path to a Super Bowl of all time. They didn't have to go through one legit quarterback, not one.
But they're going to. If they go to the Super Bowl, you're going to just say it's lucky?
I'm going to say that they had the easiest path to get there.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that.
Why are you defending the Patriots? You're not a Jets fan.
I'm not,
again.
But it's crazy that Drake May is about to go to the Super Bowl. It's nuts.
When you have the easiest path ever, it's not that crazy. Did they go through Mahomes? Did they go through
the Super
Lamar?
Bowl, it doesn't make a difference.
Did they go through Josh Allen? Did they go through Burrow? Did they go through any good quarterback?
Doesn't matter. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Great. Congrats to them. You fans have really suffered in New England. I'm very happy for you, Alan.
I have a couple of comments. First of all, I don't know if Frankie remembers when the Jets took D. Milner. Why in the world would the Jets take a guy like Jordan Tyson too? A guy who can't stay healthy. It bothers me. I don't understand why you would ever do that. It makes no sense. Okay. I'll just leave it at that. And this is where we disagree. I don't think the Jets have a lot of talent. I know you brought up names, the defensive names you've talked about. I think this is a bottom 5 roster in the league. I really do. And when I watch games this weekend, the Jets are so far away from mediocrity. And I listen to people who want to trade up in the draft. All I want talent. I'd rather them trade back when they have a chance to accumulate more talent. There is not a lot of talent on this team. There just isn't. And it makes and all I'm talking about, all I keep hearing is, oh, let's take Ty Simpson at 16. Guy has less than 20 starts. He's 23 years old. If he was smart, he should have taken the Darian Mensah money Mensah took from Miami. That's exactly what he should have done. But he decided to come out in this draft. He's not ready to play for at least a year. Why in the world would the Jets gamble on taking a guy that isn't ready to play in 2026 in the top 20? I just don't understand.
I agree with not taking him at 16. If one of the guys they like is there with the second round pick they have, that's a different conversation for me.
Yeah, but I keep hearing training up because you want a 5th-year option. That guy is going to sit for the entire year. Why? The Jets aren't in a position right now to sacrifice a season when you can get guys who can fill holes.
That's what I would do. Again, that's what I would do. This regime is coaching for their job. They might want to sell ownership on, hey, we got a quarterback in the pipeline. Give us more time.
I hope the Jets can trade out of 2. I doubt they will. But
so who do you want them to take at 2?
I would take Reese.
What position is he playing?
I just want a guy who can play edge, a guy who can just attack the quarterback. I think he has the most upside, and he's 20 years old. That's a big thing for me. I would honestly, if I had a chance, I would trade back. My favorite player in the draft is Downs, and I just don't think the Jets will take him at 2. I think he's more suited to be drafted by the Giants to finish up their defense. I would take Reese. Hopefully the Jets, maybe they can have a bidding war with Tennessee and the Giants who want to move up for one of the receivers. But if I'm Muji, you have to trade down from 33. It makes no sense for them.
I would. Yeah.
You got to accumulate picks. The Jets are not in a position right now that they need to trade up from these 4 picks. Get talent. There is not a lot of talent on this team in a lot of positions. Their defense is barren of talent. They might have 1, maybe 2 guys that I might be confident in the starting 11 on defense. Really. They need players everywhere on defense. They could use a center on offense. They could use a guard on offense. They could use another receiver, but their defense is the worst in the league right now. It is. It's the worst. And people want to trade up to go get guys. I just don't get it. Doesn't make sense. And please don't take Jordan Tyson with all those injuries, number 2 overall. He might be the most talented player, but the Jets can't afford to take a guy who's been injured year after year at number 2.
I would take Tate at 2.
I don't know if I take a receiver.
Why not? He's gonna go 3, 4, or 5, and they don't take him at 2. Why not just take a great playmaker?
I just don't want to take a receiver at 2. I'd rather take.
Why?
Because I think Tate is a 1B. I don't think he's a 1A.
So we have, but we need a great player. We just went through a 3 and 14
year. You need a great player. I would rather take the chance on getting a Reese, and you could find a 1B anywhere. You could find a 1B at pick 16 or pick 33, or even in free agency. I'd rather do that than take Tate at 2. I'd rather build on the defense at 2. And maybe if Lemon falls to 16.
We go D every year. It doesn't matter. It's coaching. You can scheme up guys on defense. It's an offensive league. Take an offensive player.
Again, they have 3 firsts next year. I assume one of those firsts will be for a top-notch receiver. I really do.
I would take Tate at 2 because I don't think Mekhi Lemon will make it to 16.
He may not. But I think they'll take a receiver in the top 4 picks. I just don't think you should take Tate at 2. I don't think they're ready to take Tate at 2. You got to build their defense. You got to build them young.
Enough of the defense. We know they got to build the defense. They also need to be better coached on defense. That's what it comes down to.
And one final thing. I keep hearing Salah's name to Tennessee, and it just makes me laugh. I just can't laugh.
By the way, and I'm glad you brought that up because people say, "Oh, who would take the job?" It's like owners are dumb, man. You see the 3 finalists for the Titans job? Oh my God, Salah, Nagy, and I think they better hire McCarthy.
It's Halfley, but he's going to take the Miami job.
Yeah, I mean, they again, these owners are stupid. And Salah, though, if he got the right quarterback with the right OC, he might be able to be successful. That's at least a medium-sized market. There's less pressure in that job.
But what kills me, and I just don't understand this, how is Clint Kubiak not getting a job in this market?
I'm not sure.
If he does not get a job this year, he is my favorite for 2027 if they fire Glenn. He is. I think he's the number 1 guy for the Jets in 2027 because you want a young offensive mind. I know people have been talking about experience, but you look at the successful coaches this year in Johnson and in Cohen and in Kellen Moore. You want a young mind who could work with a young quarterback. I'm shocked that Kubiak's not getting a job.
Well, he might. I don't know if that's true.
I just don't know I just don't hear his name. I hear more.
There's 10 openings right now, or 8 now, or 8 left.
I hear Grant Udinsky's name in Cleveland at 30 years old before I hear Clint Kubiak on any jobs.
I mean, it could be drawn out because if they go to the Super Bowl, now you got to wait till after that to officially hire him. So it could take time.
And I'm not surprised that McDermott got fired. I kind of think that they're going to elevate Brady for that job. I just do. I know I feel like he's the right guy for that job. They're afraid that he would leave, and they thought to themselves, why not keep him in my building?
He'll be the Jet coach. Don't worry.
Always a pleasure.
Alan, I can't say the same, but good call. for the most part, except your love of the Patriots. Again, they had the easiest schedule in the regular season. Obviously, we'd kill to have the Patriots set up with Vrabel, but their path to a Super Bowl is a joke. Herbert with a banged-up offensive line, and he's never played well in the playoffs. Stroud, who was Zach Wilson and Justin Fields combined yesterday. And now they get a backup quarterback. They better go to the Super Bowl. The Patriots really needed a break. Their fans have suffered for so long. Snowball in the raffle for one. Jets Worldwide.
Jets, 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 Jets.
So this was just sent to me. Apparently, maybe we know the real reason Gary is so strong on Caleb Williams, why he doesn't like him. I think it's a cover-up. Gary's actually the guy that paints Caleb his nails, I'm being told. This was just sent to me. So maybe that's why Gary comes across like a Caleb hater, because he doesn't want it to be known that it's all just a cover. Well played, Gary. I see you. I won't say who sent this to me, but let's just say we got listeners all over the globe.
Interceptions don't matter if you throw enough touchdowns.
Between him painting his nails and Josh Allen crying on the podium, we got a problem, Jake. We got.
If the Jets could get Josh Allen, would you take him?
Yes, but I don't
because he cried on the podium. You're out on Josh Allen.
You're supposed to be a leader of men, and you're crying like an infant because you lost a football game. Would Kobe do that? Or would Kobe be like, I'll work myself tirelessly so I don't have to do this again next year? Next year, we celebrate a championship, right? He's sitting there crying at a podium when he's supposed to be a leader amongst men. Wow, that's an issue. Caleb did it too. Caleb literally jumped in the crowd and then cried to his mommy, and then we're shocked he threw an interception to lose the game. Like, I mean, it's a problem, Jake. It's a problem.
What color are your nails, by the way?
I don't know, clear, regular. The way God made them. This is good, Jake. It's good. The whole background, the Brooklyn Nets, the steak and the butter, the Texas flag. That's good work. That's good work. Can I take
knockouts don't matter if you land enough jabs.
All right, we've hit the 2-hour mark, so home stretch here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to more of your calls before we wrap. Again, hit the like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you haven't already.
Jet wagon's always cooking, which it takes. Jet wagon's even cooking at the game. Jet wagon hates McDonald's, but he's headed home to cook. It's time once again for Jet Wagon.
Hey, Jake.
Hey, Chuck.
After watching the playoff games, it really, light bulb turned on above my head, thinking that I think with our second pick, we should probably go for an edge, because a great edge rusher can just wreak havoc against even a top elite quarterback. For 16, I don't think Lemon's going to be there, but what do you think about Denzel Boston? Do you think if Boston's available, that we should get him at 16?
He's going to be in play. He kind of fits what they've been missing, right? He's 6'4". He's a big.
Yeah, exactly.
receiver.
No, that's why. And I didn't realize when I looked at Lemon House, he's not even 6 foot. I mean, listen, 5'11" is still taller than me, but you can't teach height. So that's why I kind of would pick Boston before Lemon. And also that's why I would pick Falk before Bain or Bailey, because he's 6'6". The others are like 6'2", 6'3". So again, I've always been if two players are pretty much comparable in skill, I always went with the height, but I just think height really is big in especially as an edge rusher and wide receiver. That's why I would go for Boston before Lemon, and that's why I would go Falk before Bain or Bailey. But I don't think. But with the number 2 pick, they wouldn't reach for Falk. The only way they'll get Falk is if they trade back with someone, and it's quite possible. And I didn't think Frankie was going to bring this up, but it's quite possible someone may want to move up for Reese. If the Jets aren't really sold at him, somebody may be willing, crazy enough to move up for Reese. So, people think, well, because there's no quarterback, no one's going to want to trade up and switch with the Jets. But I still think there's a chance. And I like Sonny Styles. But again, I don't think he's going to be available at 16. It's probably going to have to be a wide receiver for the second pick that we do and a defensive edge for the first.
All fair. Again, I rather Lemon than Boston though, if I can get him. Like if they're both there, Chuck Wagon, I rather Lemon. I think he's a better prospect. The height thing doesn't bother me as much. His comp is JSN. JSN is an inch taller than Lemon. I think sometimes we overthink this stuff. Just get a damn good football player. I watch Mekhi Lemon, and I don't think his height has ever stopped him from being an awesome football player. I think he would be a really good pick at 16. I like Denzel Boston too, but I'm not going to pretend like I know a ton about him beyond watching some of his highlights. The first thing that stands out, he's 6'4", 210. And he's obviously a really nice compliment to Garrett Wilson. All right, one last call. Let's get more people in the raffle. If you want a chance to win a Wayne Corbett helmet, and then tomorrow on the show, Pennington sign helmet, Revis sign helmet, G5, speaking of Garrett Wilson sign helmet. Jason in Jerusalem, next.
Hey, I'm impressed that we have the longest tenured coach in the division.
No, technically Mike Vrabel is.
Oh, if you count it from hiring or you count it based upon games, from when they started their first game?
According to Field Yates, based on days, Mike Vrabel, hired 372 days ago, is technically the longest tenured coach in the AFC East.
No, you don't count the offseason dates. You count it based upon their first preseason or, the first mini camp or something like that, or the draft. I'm not going with that. Glenn and Vrabel are tied. And,
If you say
kudos,
so.
I think you just not want to give Jets credit where credit is due here. And, not only were the punt block champs and the field goal protection unit champs, but we also are tied for first in the division with the longest tenured coach.
Jets, Jets.
I mean, we need to look at the silver lining here anyway. And also our quarterback play was basically on par with CJ Stroud's for the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that like CJ Stroud, it's like he did like some Freaky Friday stuff with like Justin Fields. Like that was insane.
I mean, are we doing does that basically exonerate the Slowick now?
It might. Yeah, honestly, because here's the thing. Troy Aikman nailed it on the broadcast. CJ Stroud has gotten worse these last 2 years, right? They won in spite of him, right? They went undefeated with Davis Mills when he had to fill in when Stroud was out with the concussion. Like the reality is CJ Stroud since his rookie year has not been that guy. And they have to figure out why, because they blame the OC. It wasn't the OC, clearly. Now what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, and shame for D'Amico for not pulling him there. And you had a compliment, a capable backup who went 3-0 with you, and you saw blatant struggling there. And same thing with the previous game. And he continued to ride with it, no different than we did with Fields, until we, couldn't anymore. So not only do you need to have a good backup, but you need to have somebody who's able to pull the trigger every now and then and say it's not working and let's change it. But at least we can celebrate one more thing. So Jake, just counting down the days till pitchers and catchers, I guess.
Jason, I appreciate you, man. Good call. At least your Mets made a move. Bo Bichette. I don't know why they couldn't just keep Pete Alonso, but I digress. Could have had both. Kevin says Stroud for pick 33. Who says no? I mean, if that's all it would take, you have to consider it, right? If you're the Jets, you still would have another second. You let Stroud play on his current contract. You're not going to extend him. Like the Texans will pick up his fifth-year option after this year, but I wouldn't offer CJ Stroud an extension. How could you after that playoff performance? 2 of them in a row. You can't extend him. I think I would probably do this for pick 33. Still has 2 more years on his rookie deal. And like, what's the risk? 1 second-round pick, and I still have another one. At least you try it for a year with Stroud. If he's not the guy, all right, you move on. But I'm not giving up anything more than that. Because I've heard some things about Stroud as someone who used to live in Houston and knows people around the Texans and people who cover the team. So I don't know how hard he works. I question the work ethic. How do you not get better? I'd be weary. Spencer Green says, seriously, against trading a third-round pick for Deshaun Watson. Ladies and gentlemen, I get a lot of dumb comments sent in the chat every day. This one right there is one of the best. I mean, this is tremendous. So many things are great about this super chat. One, he paid for it. Thank you, Spencer. You're in the raffle for 2. 2, the Jets don't have a third-round pick. And 3, have you watched Deshaun Watson play football?
Just shut the fuck up. I did not ask for the dumb opinion that came out of your ass, so shut the fuck up.
Thank you, Joe Douglas. Did you mean the right Stroud instead of Deshaun? You just got your Texans QB association confused? Again, if I do nothing else today, at least I read you that super chat from Spencer Green. You're welcome, everyone. On that note, we'll be back this afternoon. We got Dom C joining us for a little Senior Bowl primer, a little draft primer with Dom, start to get his thoughts on some of these prospects. Dom and I will be together in Mobile 1 week from today, covering the Senior Bowl. Looks like we're going to have some prospects on the show. I'm corresponding right now with the Senior Bowl about getting some guests on. Who would you guys like to see that is going to the Senior Bowl come on this show as a guest? We're going to put the request in for Garrett Nussmeier for sure, because he's one of the QBs that will be there, and for David Bailey. But Jet fans, you let me know. Message me. Write it in the comments after the show ends if you're not watching live. And we'll get to the bottom of it. Hey, Tom at the buzzer enters the raffle. Thank you, Tom. We'll get you in this afternoon when we spin the wheel for the Wayne Corbett helmet. Until then, I will talk to you guys soon. JETS, 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 Jets. Thank you all for your support as always. And I will leave you with a short clip that hopefully fires you up. All right? Enjoy it. Go Jets.
You know,
yeah.
I wanted to jump up on you, asshole. She's very attractive.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump up on.
It's becoming a trend. When it goes silent, I know you've gone to me. I gotta remember to click out of this thing.
Yeah. I wanted to jump up on you, asshole. I wanted to jump up on. I wanted to jump up on you, asshole. I don't wanna jump up on. She's very attractive. I wanna talk to people with low ideas. Not that I wanna jump up bones, but she's very attractive. I don't want to jump up. I wanted to jump up on you, asshole. I wanted to jump up on you. Can I say hello to my lover? I don't wanna jump up. You know,
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets!